Looks like that underpick I made on there just went squadoosh. By the way, I thought you would like my comment about editing Pain in the Tookus, that I went Tookus.
Tookus, absolutely.
Did you happen to look at the things G sent us, the sales? They're really nice.
Are they?
They're really good.
Did you go, damn, whose show is this? Type nice?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I did. I mean, I didn't, read it line by line or anything, but just the way it's set up and the format and all that, I'm like, this is really good.
I think I have to get a new phone. My phone hasn't been responding to the touch for a while. It's
you got a new keyboard for your computer.
I did. $15.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. First off, Mark, less than a week to go before Thanksgiving. How are you?
Counting down to the bird. I'm good. Good. Got the bird yesterday. 18 pounds.
Okay.
It was a 20-pounder. I don't know if that would fit in the roaster. They were both pretty big, but I went with the 18-pound bird.
All right. I believe wife's getting the bird on Sunday. Obviously, she's just cooking for 3. And my mother-in-law doesn't eat much anymore, so there's going to be a lot for me.
Well, I was going to say, when she said she was cooking for 3, I was going to say plus herself and your mother-in-law.
Come on now.
I mean, you eat for 3 on Thanksgiving. We all eat for at least 2 on Thanksgiving. I mean, everybody eats for 2 on Thanksgiving, and if they don't, to hell with you. But you eat for 3. I'm going to try to eat for 3.
Well, I definitely eat for 2. That is for sure. Okay, remember, I eat for 2 of me.
Right.
Which may be, 4 or 5 mere mortals. But listen, you and I oftentimes can't remember what we talked about yesterday. So I may be off in my remembrance. But did certainly I, and I think you, at the beginning of the NFL season say, well, the best bet is the Bills are going to win the AFC East?
David, I picked the Bills to go to the Super Bowl. I picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl. I had the Bills beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl.
But of all the bets that you could have placed about who was going to win what divisions, I mean, this was the first year in a long time in which we thought the Chiefs might not win.
Right.
Okay.
Right. As a matter of fact, I had them tied with Denver, but I gave the Chiefs the tiebreaker. You, I believe, gave Denver the division, if memory serves me right.
I did. I picked the Broncos.
We had no clue in the NFC West. And even though the Rams are leading that division, we're not sure they're going to win it at this point.
No, I ultimately at the end picked Seattle, even though I said I really think the Rams are the best team. I went with Seattle, and I even put Arizona ahead of the Rams because I just said I have no clue what's going to happen in this division.
Sure, Baltimore was a safe bet early on, but Cincinnati, Joe Burrow had not yet gotten hurt again, and we thought that division was pretty competitive outside of Cleveland. Houston was a safe bet, but and probably the second safest bet. I mean, I will say if Buffalo was first, then probably Houston was next because the NFC North is a tough division. The Eagles were certainly a common pick in their division, but we all know that someone different seems to win that division every year. It's been happening for however long now.
And Tampa was a solid favorite, but a lot of people thought that the Falcons were a playoff caliber team. I know I picked the Falcons, I think, to be the 7th seed in the NFC. But the most overwhelming bet to win the division was the Bills in the AFC East. How could they not be? The 3 other teams in the division were below 500 last year. The Jets certainly didn't look as if they were better than they were a year ago. If anything, they looked like they were taking a step back. You and I thought the Dolphins were clearly taking a step back. And while we all knew New England would be better, think of the canyon that was between where the Bills were and where the Patriots were. And there's no way that canyon is going to be made up in 1 year. Even Washington last year didn't make up the canyon that was between them and first place in the division. Should we put a soft X next to the Patriots?
Now you're getting just sassy.
Hey, that's a 2-game lead in the loss column.
I know they have 1 game remaining. The Patriots have 1 other tough game on their schedule, and the rest of the games are winnable. However, that is saying that the Patriots won't screw up from here to the finish line. And look, I give all the credit to Vrabel, to Drake May, and to what this team has done this year. But most teams screw up a game. They screwed up one early. Will they screw up one late?
I was going to say, that's the thing. Remember, opening week, the Patriots lost at home to the Raiders. That result now just looks preposterous, doesn't it? That we are wrong about a lot, but we do say, man, week 1 in the NFL, just good luck. Because at the end of the year, you're going to look at 3 or 4 of those results and go, what in the world? Yep. Mm-hmm. But I just wonder, did a changing of the guard take place in the AFC East last night? Because the Houston Texans, with a backup quarterback, but no backups on defense, took it to Josh Allen and the Bills. Josh Allen just played an entire game and did not account for a touchdown.
After having 6 the week before, 3 throwing, 3 running.
Right.
He was sacked, I think, 6 times last night. Sorry. He was sacked 8 times last night. He was hit a dozen times.
Correct.
A dozen.
Right.
David, that's a lot. I'm just saying,
it is.
That's kind of a lot.
It is. And then on top of that, here's the funny thing. The Texans gave up a kick return for a score and still beat the Bills. Heck, they gave up a nearly 50-yard touchdown run and still beat the Bills.
Yeah, Cook goes for a $116, a kick return, and you lose.
Right.
Little things in the NFL. Usually if you have a 100-yard rusher, that's a good sign to win a football game.
You get a defensive or a special team score, you often win. You're playing against a backup quarterback, and you're the better team. You usually win. Was this a clear instance of, at this point of the season, just take the home team on Thursday night?
Which David said, I'm taking the points. Yours truly said, I'm taking the under. And when they were at 30 and the over-under was 44 and it was halftime, it didn't look good.
No, I have to admit, late in that first half, the under, when the Bills return the kick for the score and then Davis Mills decides to look like a top 10 quarterback in the league and go beep, boop, bop, beep, touchdown, it was like, wait, hold on. What just happened here?
But Josh Allen went back to pass 42 times. He threw 34 passes. He was sacked 8 times. He was hit 4 more times in which he threw the ball. Josh Allen took a beating last night, kids. He took a beating. That ugly, horrific, red Houston Texans defense was swarming all night long. I had people texting me early in the game that thought there was something wrong with their televisions. Houston was so red.
Right. Didn't this remind you, wasn't it 2015? What did they call those uniforms? The Bucks and the Rams, who were still in St. Louis. Didn't they play the game in which we said it was ketchup against mustard?
Ketchup and mustard. That red was a little more ketchupy than what Houston had last night, but yes, it was in the area code.
And that's my favorite color. And I even went, damn, that's red. I mean, there's old school Atlanta Falcons sitting at home going, that's a lot of red right there.
In fact, David, to open up the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line early on the show today, I woke up to come into the office, sit down here in the studio, and see the following text. 380-pound men do not look good in red onesies. You are correct, sir. You are correct.
Oh, my goodness. Josh Allen's going to be walking around with shades for a couple days because all he's got in his head is red. So, surprise, surprise, surprise. And let's give a little credit to the Houston Texans. They were 2-5. And shortly thereafter, C.J. Stroud got hurt. And the Houston Texans are now 6-5. The numbers are still not in their favor. And man, is their schedule hard. But they're 6-5. And they'll have a mini bye going forward. And just maybe, they get C.J. Stroud on the other side of it. That defense.
They still have 2 with the Colts left. Remember, that's been their division for a while.
Yep.
So while the Colts are clearly looking at a 1 seed and trying to think about a bye in the first round, they've still got 2 left with the Texans. And oh, by the way, the Texans are now a game behind the Bills. But because of last night, what do they have? The tiebreaker. And so there's a world we could live in right now,
right?
Where the Chiefs and the Bills don't make the playoffs.
Oh,
wait for it. Being replaced by the Texans and the Jags.
Right. The 3 playoff teams coming from the AFC South. Right.
That gulp you heard were all of the CBS executives freaking out over that being an actual possibility in late November.
The NBC executives who have the Super Bowl are like, hold on a second. Who are the 7 teams they're going to have over there? Wait, are you telling me there's a chance no Baltimore, no Kansas City, no Buffalo? What? And Joe Burrow and the Bengals aren't in? Who are the quarterbacks going to be in the AFC again?
Yeah, quietly, if this all happens, I think they'd be praying for Drake May because at least people remember the Patriots being good not so long ago. Football Friday edition of Miller and Moulton. That means Lee Sterling will make his picks. Pat Kirwan will join us for a couple of segments, and we'll make our picks on a Football Friday. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know, there's like 4 NFL games I like, but I don't know which one I've got enough guts to pull the trigger on.
All right.
I need one more pick. Piss on it.
So you're only making one college pick?
No, I made 3 college and 2 pro.
Gotcha.
But I was down to my last game, and I don't know.
Well, you have time.
I make them and I'm done. Once they're written down, there's no crossing out. There's no going back.
Oh, yes, Canada Relief. And we were talking about that before the playoffs started, that the playoff ratings were going to suck because of that fact. And they did. Well, and Javier, I guess really late the money was coming in on the Texans because it was 6 when we were on the air, and you got it at 5.5, and I think it kicked off at 4.5. Coffin bot, yeah, it's not easy getting there, and it's not easy getting back, but yes. This is the only time all year that Saturday and Monday are both in the same time zone.
What time will you get to Santa Clara or whatever?
Actually,
Sunday?
Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, because the game ends in Eugene, 4:00 local time, and there's like a 6:40 flight to San Francisco.
Awesome.
Out of Eugene. So,
I was going to say, you don't even have to go up to Portland. Nice. That's fantastic, actually.
Yeah. So,
are you staying in Santa Clara or San Francisco? Or are you going
usually they put us in Palo Alto, which is south Even of Santa Clara?
I don't know if you'll do it because it is Sunday, and I don't know if you've already done it. But if you have time, if you've never done Alcatraz, you should go.
Yeah, I've never done it.
You've got. I would literally try today to see if you can book a reservation, because that's how that does get booked up. Of all the tours I've done in my life, and I've been lucky enough to go a lot of places and do a lot of fun things,
that one,
I'd put Alcatraz in a top 10 touristy place I've ever been. It's because you get the headphones and you got an ex-prisoner giving you the walkthrough. It's really cool.
Cool. Thank you.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Lee Sterling with his picks. By the way, he has been on an NFL heater for the last 2 months. He gives out 5 picks for the NFL. He's been 75%, which is ridiculous, over the last 9 NFL Sundays. So for those of you that are into that sort of thing, I'm not interested in winning. I'm just want to make picks. Okay.
As many as you can.
Right. And, and as many losses as I can. I'm just stockpiling them. I'm hoping for better draft position next year with my picks. What do I get for a top 5 draft pick? Because I have to be a top 5 pick. I mean,
there's no doubt, David. There is no doubt.
I mean, in fact, I could be the Titans, but I'm definitely somewhere between the Saints and the Browns.
You're trying desperately to be the Dolphins. Just enough at the end of the year to make yourself look respectable.
Right.
The Bengals right now. The seasons are lost, and yet somehow inside of their front offices, they still think there's a chance.
Right. I would love to ruin my draft status and end up with a 7-10 season at the end of it. But right now, I'm one of the 2 New York football teams. There's no doubt about it.
So, David, there were a handful of texts when I showed up this morning. And this one, I don't really understand if it's an attempt to be funny, if it's a shot at the 2 of us, or it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
But this person says, instead of Miller and Moulton, what if the name of your show was Malted Milk Balls? You'd certainly get some unexpected clicks. Anyway, that's the name I call your show. It doesn't sound much different than Miller and Moulton, and considering your guys' heft, it's not entirely inappropriate.
Wait, what does he want the show to be called?
Malted Milk Balls.
Well, first off, Mark is skinny. Okay, I don't draw Mark into this. I mean, that's unfair to Mark. Malted.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I read it in the voice that I did.
Because
I thought it was an attempt at humor.
Yes.
My wife sometimes, because I can be reasonably funny. I mean, I've lasted a pretty long time in the show without having a lot of sports knowledge, so I must be doing something with that voice.
Stop it. Oh, for goodness sakes.
But my wife will say things to me like, can I tell you something funny? And my response is, I don't know. Can you? Give it a shot.
Your response is, I'm still waiting. Sure, go ahead.
We'll see. Can I answer you after you tell me?
Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday. Thanks so much for being with us. Lee Sterling with his picks coming up at the top of the hour. Then we make ours. You should go the other way, certainly with mine. Although I'm just going to let you know right now, I took the 5 worst college football teams against the spread, and I bet against them. So now I tried this 2 weeks ago by taking the 5 best college football teams against the spread and taking them, and I went 1-4. To show you just how much
you're having a year.
Right. It's when you know what, this might be a jinx. There might be something to it. So we're going to give it a shot 2 weeks later. We're going to go with the bottom of the standings. We're going to bet against those teams blindly. We don't care who they're playing, what the number is. Boom. We're just taking it, and we see how we do. By the way, back to 7 picks. The NFL
something had to change.
Yeah,
something
the
had to
NFL
change, David.
just didn't look that appetizing to me this week. I don't have a good feeling about a lot of games spread-wise, and so I just said, you know what, there's one that I like, so I'm going 6 college, 1 pro for what it is worth.
You know, I saw a bunch of prop bets for Shedeur Sanders. You know, how many touchdowns he's going to throw, what the yardage is, what his rushing yards are. I couldn't believe there was nothing for sacks, because I think he'll get sacked a lot. He holds my knock on him coming into the league with, I thought, we all know what happened, but I thought he threw the most catchable ball on Saturdays. The problem was he goes backwards a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see Crosby enjoying his time across from Shedeur Sanders this week.
Well, that's either a prop bet or a poll question or both that could be asked. Who will have more sacks on Sunday? Myles Garrett or Max Crosby? Because it's Browns at Raiders.
I simply wanted to ask, and this is maybe a little cynical of me, but I know our audience. Are you rooting for Shedeur or against Shedeur? And I think the majority of our audience is rooting against Shedeur. Much like 55% of you yesterday, proud, wonderful human beings that are anti-pickleball. I'm proud of you. I am. I know it's tough to say that in today's society when people are walking around with ping pong rackets and really loud popping balls to annoy you. But 55+% of you yesterday were anti-pickleball. It all came on the heels of Carmel, California, banning pickleball in the city. Way to go. And as far as our other poll question, would you rather play in the conference championship or have the week off if your spot in the playoff was assured? 59% of you are taking the week off.
Which already then doesn't bode well for the future of these conference championship games. Now, I'm not saying that our audience is, represents the entire nation or even the South, but even in our small sample size, it was not that long ago. How many people had the SEC championship game as their favorite game of the year or one of their 5 favorite games of the year, even if they didn't have a rooting interest in the game?
And, this year, Alabama may make it. That's something we've seen a lot of. But A&M, they've never been to an SEC championship.
They have not. No.
And then the Big Ten, obviously Ohio State is the perennial favorite in that conference each year. But this Indiana thing's fun. It is.
Yeah. How cool is that? Indiana playing for a conference championship in football.
So you take that with the ACC and the Big 12 where berths are on the line for the college football playoff. But I think with this 12, it's something I don't believe that the power brokers of college football thought about when they expanded the playoff. They just assumed we were all hungry for conference championship games. And the 12-team playoff, particularly in the SEC, took a little luster off of that game.
Well, what could be happening in football with the conference championship games is what has happened to a few of the basketball conference championship games, in which the games of the most magnitude, Mark, are the Thursday, Friday, Saturday games, if you will, leading up to those that have their championship on Sunday. And if they have it on Saturday, it's the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because those are the ones that truly teams on the bubble or, play their way in or play their way out, which could be part of Tony Petitti's thinking in the Big Ten, that actually the 3, 6, 4, 5 games would have more meaning. Those are the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday games in the big conference basketball tournaments. Most of us, by the conference championship game, I mean, what is somebody playing for a 1 versus a 2 versus a 3? Who cares? Now, if they're playing because they're a Cinderella, and if they win it, they steal a bid. But we're never going to have that type of situation in football. Are we?
I don't think so. There won't be I guess by winning a conference championship, if that's still part of it, someone with a bad regular season record could sneak in a conference like the ACC. Starting 5 next. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real. This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not 1 but 2 elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Pelican. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
By the way, that Shedeur Sanders question, I don't think is a bad poll question.
I agree. That's why I said.
Can I ask you a question? You've been around me for a long time. When's the last time you remember that I rooted against an individual?
Never.
I'm trying to think. Like when you were throwing that out there, my thought was, right, I would never root against him playing well.
I understand that you wouldn't, but I think there are a lot of people that don't like him.
No, I know. And people don't like LeBron. And yeah, no, I get it.
David, I don't know. I was going to put it for my bad or ugly. I don't know if it deserves a short segment. Have you seen the story on the FSW basketball players that were suspended?
No.
For clogging a toilet. I'm not messing around.
Did they do it the natural way or artificial?
Well, that's a great question, and we don't have all the answers.
And yes, Johnny Mac. Oh my goodness. Plus, I had to start a day before, and yeah, yesterday was not fun. But many of us adults have been there. Nice, Javier. No, Adam. No.
That is a proud dad moment, Javier. That's outstanding.
Yep.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. That's when Lee Sterling will join us. He'll make some picks, then we'll make ours. At Kirwan in a little more than an hour to break down this week in the NFL. This is always an off week in college football. Very few big matchups. A lot of huge rivalry games next weekend, and many a school try to, schedule the W this week. Kind of a respite week, particularly in the South. That's why it's, have to admit, kind of nice. For years, we wondered, could Florida and Tennessee play later in the season? Because many times they were the first conference game of the year in mid-September. And now here they are playing in late November. Of course, Gators not filling their part.
They are not, David. They are not filling their part at all. I will say, there are 2 or 3 weeks a year. Like week 3, I think it is usually a dud. Week 2 or 3 of the college football season.
Right.
When there's
2. Yeah,
and if you and I have talked about this until we're blue in the face. But if we were ESPN and particularly ESPN, but if we were Fox as well with the Big Ten, I would be sitting down with the conference commissioners going, this can't happen. I'm sorry. I get it's your rivalry game. We've got to do better. We can't have a week where Alabama's playing Georgia State and all of these games are going on that give us nothing to show on air.
I could recite some of the games that when the SEC was on CBS, that this weekend, the games that we broadcast, because there were very few games involving SEC teams even playing each other. That's how much of a mail-it-in weekend this was. I mean, Mark, I remember we did a Mississippi State at Arkansas game, and it was far and away the best game on the SEC schedule. And I think it did like a 1.4 when we couldn't draw less than a 4 rating if we just signed on. But we'll get to the college weekend coming up. Right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
Brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. And between this weekend with the CME Group Championship in Naples, even though that's Collier County, all the college basketball in Lee County next week, it's as if business, sports, and tourism collide in the latter part of November in the 239.
I'm going on Tuesday. I'm not going on Thursday. I'm not, I can't. I like Thanksgiving too much. As much as I'd like to see Michigan State and North Carolina play, I'm going to see my Spartans against my son's alma mater, East Carolina, on Tuesday.
There you go. NFL last night. Texans. They made Josh Allen's life miserable. 8 sacks, 12 hits, 3 turnovers. Josh Allen did not account for a single touchdown in the game, running or throwing. Who can do that to Josh Allen and the Bills? The Houston Texans did last night. Even though James Cook had a 45-yard touchdown run and 119 yards rushing. Even though the Bills got a kickoff return for a touchdown. Davis Mills and the Texans win again. That's 4 in a row. 3 for Davis Mills. 23-19 Houston. Texans have worked their way back into the discussion. They're 6-5. Bills, they're 7-4. Look out. Be careful. 2 games this morning behind the Patriots, who are 9-2. New England playing this weekend. But the Bills lose in Houston 23-19. College football. Louisiana with a goal line stand. Stopped the Red Wolves on the 1-yard line on the final play of the game, and the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana beat Arkansas State 34-30. Both teams need wins in their season finales to be bowl eligible. Baylor Athletic Director Mark Rhodes has resigned. Boy, that was fast. 10 days ago, he was in charge of the College Football Playoff Committee. Said he needed to step away. Now he's done. That's it. Doesn't bode well for the football coach at Baylor because he hired him. And Dave Aranda's on the hot seat. And now he's going to have a new boss. Doesn't bode well for Dave Aranda. Missouri quarterback Bo Prabula, remember, we thought he was out for the year with that leg injury. He's been practicing the last couple days. He's been officially changed from doubtful to questionable. Who does Missouri play this Saturday? Oklahoma in Norman. Okay. All right. Let's see if he plays. And if so, how effective will he be? 12 games in the NHL last night. Panthers. Sam Reinhart scored and nobody else. Bob with 31 saves. Florida 1-0 over Jersey.
Panthers proven once again they play good teams. How do you want to play? Do you want to play a low-scoring game? Do you want to play a high-scoring game? Whatever it is that you like to do, we can do it, and we can still be better than you.
What did they do the other day? 8-5 over Vancouver?
Right.
Next game, 1-0 over New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
The Lightning tied it with 2.5 minutes to go, and then Jake Gensel won it in overtime. Tampa Bay 2-1 over Edmonton. Take a look at the save sequence by Vasilevsky, and then 10 seconds later, the puck's in the back of the net for the Lightning. How Edmonton did not score. He makes 3 saves, and everyone is better than the other. The third, I have no idea how he stopped the third one. Tampa Bay 2-1 in overtime over the Oilers.
That's 4 in the last 2 games for Getzel because he had a hat trick last time out, 12 on the season now.
Ovechkin's heating up. You know, sometimes it takes the older guy a little while, but once they get going, yeah, Ovi had a hat trick and a helper last night. Washington 8-4 over Montreal. He has 907 goals, by the way.
I was a little annoyed with the linesman last night in that game because a player was trying to take a few extra shots at Ovi. Couple of hard cross checks, nothing illegal, and I know a cross check technically is, but very physical. Couple of pops with the stick, and one a little late, and Ovi didn't like it, and Ovi speared him. And the guy came back and kind of got in Ovi's face and a little pushing and shoving, and the linesman came in and stopped it. And I wish he'd have let it go because I think Ovi would have beaten the crap out of the guy. He was much bigger. Ovi's a strong man.
Yes, he is. He is a big man who
who
doesn't drop the gloves very often. But if he did, look out.
See, players like that, and this I know from spending all my time in hockey, David, they don't fight unless they know they're going to have the edge. And he looked as if he was ready. I'm going to drop my gloves and hit you before you get your gloves off.
Oh,
and
man.
That's what it looked like. And I'm like, get out of his way. Let the old man beat someone's ass.
So in other words, he was going to score a hat trick and then go all Gordie Howe?
Yes.
Oh, that would have been amazing. Islanders 5-0 over the Wings.
Oh.
Shabanov with 2 goals and an assist. Avs with 4 in the third.
6 out of 7 on a road trip for the Isle.
Oh, yeah.
7-game road trip. They went 6-1.
Yep.
That is impressive.
And by the way, the Schaefer kid is a star. He's 18 years old. They're trying to figure out a way to put him on the Canadian Olympic team. Colorado with 4 in the third, 2 of them empty netters. They beat the Rangers 6-3. Toronto lost at home in overtime to Columbus 3-2. Philly, by that same score, won at home in overtime over St. Louis. They were down 2-0 in that one. Seattle with 3 in the third. The Kraken over the Blackhawks 3-2. Eichel with 2 goals. Vegas over Utah 4-1. Dallas has won 6 of 7. They double up Vancouver 4-2. Ottawa gets the game-winning goal with under 2 minutes to play. In Anaheim, they beat the Ducks 3-2. And San Jose in a shootout over the Kings 4-3. One final note about Ovechkin. His 4-point night moved him into 10th place all time on the NHL scoring list, passing Joe Sakic. NBA, 4 games last night. The Mavs, they're 3-1 without Paolo. Or excuse me, did I say the Mavs? How about the
Magic?
Orlando, the Magic. 129-101 over the Clippers. The Clippers are 4-11. That could all implode this year. Ty Lue, Harden, and Kawhi are on the team. Do they keep them? Would they trade them at the deadline? Is the league going to come down on Ballmer?
I know it's early in the season in the NBA, but we've always talked about how good the West is, Right now, Portland would be the 9 seed. They're 3 games below 500.
Yeah.
Utah's 4 games below. Memphis is awful. The Clippers are awful. Dallas, with all of their injuries, terrible. New Orleans might as well start over. And Sacramento couldn't stop 5 pylons from scoring right now.
Speaking of Sacramento, their 8th straight loss. Memphis beat them by 41, 137-96.
My point exactly.
The Spurs are 3-0 without Wemby. They beat Atlanta 135-126. And the Sixers got 54 from Tyrese Maxey, a career high. They beat Milwaukee in overtime, 123-114. College hoops, Purdue. I know Memphis is 1-3, but they're 1-3. Look at their schedule. Purdue pulled away from Memphis late, 80-71. Second-ranked Houston won by 46. 14th-ranked St. John's won by 48. And 20th-ranked Tennessee won by 29. Game of the night in the Bahamas, Texas Tech held off Wake Forest, 84-83. In Florida, UCF beat Pitt, 77-67. Miami beat Elon by 27. FAU had no problems with Pacific. Game of the night in college basketball. Triple overtime in LA. Troy's up 2, and USC hits a desperation 3 at the buzzer of triple overtime. 107-106 Trojans. By the way, women's hoops, 8 ranked teams won easily. 19th ranked Iowa over 7th ranked Baylor, 57-52. All right, I'm a geek. I am. College soccer, men's NCAA playoffs. North Florida scored with no time remaining to tie North Carolina and send it to penalty kicks. And they had a kick to win it. Missed it. North Carolina won 7-6 in penalty kicks to advance. UCF beat FAU 3-2 on the women's side. 3rd-ranked Florida State won. 7th-ranked UCF lost. Number 1 Notre Dame beaten in overtime by Ohio State, 1-0. PGA Tour, Sea Island, Georgia, the RSM Classic, 3-way tie for the lead at 10 under. Our buddy Frankie Sappin's 1 under, George McNeil even. They both need a few birdies today just to make the cut. The LPGA Tour in Naples, the CME Group Championship. Somi Lee at 8 under is the 2-shot lead over American Allison Corpez. Number 1 ranked player of the world, Thitikul, is 3 back. Brooke Henderson, who lives in the 239, the Canadian, is 4 under. Lydia Ko, Charlie Hull, 3 under. Lexi is 2 under. Nelly Corda, winless on the year. This is her last chance, and she's 7 shots back. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories. And yes, college soccer here on Miller and Moulton.
Okay. My name's Mark Miller. I'm the co-host of a show with David Moulton. I'm pretty sure that we went somewhere we've never gone before. And by we, I mean David. He literally just did 60 to 90 seconds on college soccer.
It's more like 30 to 40, but it just seemed like 60 to 90 to you.
It seemed like 5 minutes.
Oh, my goodness. Very dramatic. What can I tell you? I'm a geek. I love the college sports.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell them Miller and Moulton sent you.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
So I don't know what the name of the show is, David. I really don't. I have no clue. But I usually will have Dan Patrick on in my car when I leave here. And after Dan Patrick, they run an hour of something before they rerun Le Batard. The hour of something is a basketball type show. And I don't the guy seems pretty intelligent. Like, it's for an hour I can do NBA talk because I don't pay a lot of attention. I'm like, this is a good little, scouting for me.
What channel is that again?
On the NBC channel.
Gotcha.
Morning, Lee.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. You check out the Buffalo game last night?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I've ever said this. I think Buffalo's done. I think they're mentally and physically, I think they're done.
You sure it wasn't just a Thursday night on the road in the latter part of the season?
Well, that was part of it, but man, that offensive line just 8 sacks.
Yeah, but that's a top 3 defense in the league.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then the defense lost a couple more players too.
Well, that's a different story.
Yeah, right. I think the combo of it.
I do think David's on to something. I think there's something to be said when you get to November, Thursday nights on the road. I mean,
yeah, could be part of it, but offensive line's not great.
And the defense is bad.
Yeah, they are
I
bad.
mean, their defense is
All right, very quickly.
Yeah.
Play the schedule game. They're at Pittsburgh,
Yeah,
home for the Bengals,
yeah.
at the Patriots, at the Browns, home for the Eagles, home for the Jets.
They'll make the playoffs.
4-2,
Yeah.
3-3, 4-2.
4-2.
Okay, it's 11-6.
Yeah.
But
Not
they'll
going
be
to
on
win
the
the
road.
division.
Nope, they'll be on the road. They
Yeah.
haven't won a road playoff game since Jim Kelly was their quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good stat. So,
In fact, I'll go out on a limb and say their last road playoff win was when they beat the Dolphins in the AFC Championship game.
oh, that was that like
It was the
2000?
92 season.
Oh, 92?
Yep. 92 season. They beat the Dolphins in Miami. Because I'm trying to think in 93, I think they had home field
Okay.
because they beat Montana and the Chiefs in the AFC title game at home. So I think their last road playoff win was the 92 AFC Championship game,
Wow.
29-10 over the Dolphins,
Yeah. Wow.
which is also the last time the Dolphins have been in the AFC Championship game.
Right. Right. Where do you think Lane Kiffin ends up?
Florida.
Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
And we begin it as we always do with Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. We mentioned it earlier in the show. He's on an NFL heater. He gives out 5 picks for every Sunday's action, and he's 33-11-1 over the last 9 weeks. That's only 75%. Nothing crazy or anything. Lee had a winning week last week on this show, got his game of the week right on this show. How are you?
I'm good. Looking forward to Thanksgiving. Always, have my 2 girls, and there's a change in the turkey bake-off. So, as you know, my 2 daughters, the oldest makes the banana cream, youngest makes the huckleberry. So, my oldest, who's married now, my son-in-law, I got a text. He and my youngest daughter's boyfriend, they live together. They are entering a mystery pie for the turkey bake-off. So I had to be honest with them. I told them if it's a tie, it goes to my daughters. So I told them bring it. I just told them no lemon meringue pie. It's the only pie I don't like. I'll eat anything else.
All right, that was my dad's favorite. But, Lee, there was a time. We've been having you on this show for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I remember when Thanksgiving was coming, you didn't talk about pies
Right.
and baking. You talked about your prowess playing quarterback in the family.
Right.
And now all you talk about is
Right.
sitting down and eating some pie.
Yeah.
Explanation, everybody. He is very scared at his age that he would get hurt if the football game was still going on. Because even a few years ago, weren't you all-time quarterback? I mean, you went from playing in the game to being all-time quarterback to now you're judging a baking contest.
Okay. Partially true. If I could play quarterback, full-time quarterback for pro teams, and there's no tackling, then I would still play quarterback.
So in other words,
actually went out there and threw a football. It wasn't as bad as I thought. So almost every ball was a nice tight spiral, but I just can't throw the ball 50, 55 yards anymore.
So there will be 3 pies that we're judging again,
Three
right?
pies, and should be up probably on Twitter/X and also TikTok.
Gotcha.
Should have it up by between probably 6:30, 7 o'clock Thanksgiving night if everyone wants to check it out.
I'm proud of you for doing that because Last week was National Baked Bread Day, and David was astonished that I make my own bread. He was blown away over the fact that I bake. Because I like to cook. I do Thanksgiving. My mom and I do everything. The wife, she works for a living. I do this. So after the fact, I had the bread all done. I'm like, I should have posted a picture of the before and after. What the hell? Who knows? All right, let's talk football. Florida State hasn't won a road game since 2023. They're favored to win over North Carolina State tonight.
Yeah.
How do you see this one, Lee?
The money seemingly is coming in on the Noles, because didn't this game open at around 4.5, and in some places it's 6.5?
6.5 right now.
Yeah. So Dave Dorn, and I was looking at some of the internet sites here, the message boards are calling him Donut Dave. So it's getting ugly there. I think he has got to find a way to win at least minimum one of the next 2 games. He loses both, and I think he's done. Who knows what happened to CJ Bailey? He was horrible against Miami last week. Knowles, pretty good defense here. It's gotten better. The way to beat NC State, they give up, I think it's like the last 3 or 4 games, giving up at least 342 yards through the air. So that's the way to usually travel against them. Florida State's more of a running team, but I think Florida State's kind of found themselves. I'll take Florida State here, 31-21.
Ooh, Florida State with a road win and a road cover. Okay. Vols and Gators, boy, it'd be nice if Florida had their act together. Late November, this would be a really sexy game at this time of year. The Vols, a 4-point favorite in the Swamp.
What's the stat? Something like Tennessee's won like one time in like 30 or 40 years?
It might be a couple, because like Spurrier's last game in the Swamp, Fulmer beat them, but they haven't won too many times, that's for sure.
Okay. Problem here for Florida is I think whatever they had left was the first half last week against Ole Miss. Ole Miss didn't play well either. And then the second half, they end up losing that game. They've given up 38 to Kentucky, 34 to Ole Miss. I think Tennessee's offense might be better than those 2 teams right now. So I think, like I said, Florida's without their top 4 receivers. I mean, they got to slowly work down the field. I think Tennessee can strike big here. I think this is a game Tennessee wants. I'm going to lay it here. I know Florida is 6-1 against the spread last 7, but they're going to move. What are they, 3-7? They're going to move to 3-8. Can you believe it? I like Tennessee, 34-24.
Canes and Vatech. Obviously, a lot of news this week with Virginia Tech and the hiring of James Franklin. So I'm guessing a lot of Vatech players are figuring out where they're going to play next year, because James Franklin isn't going to want them. And Miami has a lot to play. I mean, if they're going to get into this playoff, they're going to have to destroy teams. Will they do so against Vatech?
So Vatech's run defense is horrendous. I mean, I think Miami's going to run early and often here. They've only scored 30 points in the month of November. They're allowing 235 plus rushing yards in 3 of the last 4 games, giving up 12 rushing touchdowns in the last 4 games. So this kid Pringle has come on now. He's a speed back. I think they're going to give him more touches. I expect Fletcher back. UM's going to get back like 4 starters here for this game. Next week's a tough game, but I think Miami runs right through Virginia Tech. I think they're going to show James Franklin and play Enter the Sandman like 4 or 5 times each, just to keep the crowd excited through the half, and then they'll leave. I like Miami here, 38-14.
And the spread is up to 18.5. It has slowly gone up throughout the week, the money coming in on the Canes. All right, to Sunday. Jags. We all know the last 2 weeks, the lowest of lows and the highest of highs. At Arizona, Jacksonville, a 3-point road favorite.
Look at the receivers. You talk about an uninspiring group from each team. Jacoby Myers, Tim Patrick, and Parker Washington for the Jags. Now with the injury, Arizona, they're going to field Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, and Michael Carter. So if I had a coin, I don't carry coins anymore. I'd flip it here. Home field, Arizona. They're horrible at home. 3-7 straight up, 1-4 at home straight up. I'll take the Cards here 25-21.
And the Rams and the Bucks, that game's moved to 7, started at 6.5. That's our Sunday night game.
Yeah.
Rams lost 3 starters put on IR this week, a tackle, a safety, and Higbee, the tight end. Tampa, they've been banged up all year. They're used to it at this point. But Stafford, at one point, it was Baker Mayfield we were talking about for the MVP. Right now, Stafford, the odds-on favorite to win it. How do you see Sunday night, Lee?
Another tough one here, but, Tampa's defense might be able to hold up for a while here. And those injuries, factor into it. Tampa Bay maybe slowly getting healthy. But Todd Bowles on the road, 13-5 against the spread until recently. I'll take the touchdown. Touchdowns a lot in the NFL with 2 quality teams here. I think Tampa's going to be able to run some on the Rams. You got to run to open up the pass. You can't throw, 30, 35 times here. Rams win the game here, 27-23, but Bucks cover.
All right.
Yep.
So laying the points with the Knowles, the Vols, and the Canes, and taking the points on Sunday with Arizona at home and Tampa Bay on the road. Your game of the week, Bears and Steelers. I believe the latest line is Chicago favored by 2.5. How do they get it?
Interesting about this game. if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, I don't think the line's going to move. Crazy. Back in the day, moved 7 points when he wouldn't play. Maybe Duck Hodges plays here instead of Mason Rudolph. Who knows? But they want to get the game for free. Just call 800-400-9741. Again, the number 800-400-9741. Big game for both teams that are winning, Bears and Steelers. And Lee's NFL Sunday Golden Ticket, 5 selections every Sunday for 4 weeks, $197. Also a UFC card. We lost last week in the UFC. Starts tomorrow morning at 10. 5 selections, $5. Why is it so low, not 55? I just want to make sure everyone has a pulse and a credit card.
Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741, and that $5 offer. That's your way of saying thanks, right, Lee?
Yeah, that's it.
Follow him on X at Paramount
Absolutely.
Sports. Lee, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Lee will be on Wednesday next week at this time, 7 a.m. on Wednesday. We're rearranging our guest list. A lot of our Thursday and Friday guests will be on Tuesday and Wednesday. Lee Sterling next Wednesday before the holiday. Lee, have a great weekend.
You too, guys. Take care.
Lee Sterling. Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. Laying the points with the Knowles and the Canes. Taking Tennessee to beat Florida by more than 4. Betting against the Jags, betting with the Bucks.
By the way, since he went Duck Hodges on it, because, now Duck Hodges, talk about out-kicking your coverage. I don't care that he was a backup quarterback. He's with Laney Wilson, the country superstar. Right. And gorgeous, by the way. From what I see, I did not know this because I had to look him up. I'm like, I know he's not playing in the league anymore. He's playing in Canada.
I did not know that.
He's playing with the Ottawa Red Blacks. I also didn't know that Ottawa was now called the Red Blacks.
What happened to the Rough Riders?
That's what I'm saying.
What was wrong with that? Were they sharing that nickname with somebody else? Because there were 2 teams in Canada that had the same nickname. Was Saskatchewan also the Rough Riders? Is that why they changed, maybe?
It may be.
Oh, man.
Can't anything stay the same anymore?
Can I get my 2008 cable back, please?
With the Canadian Football League on ESPN? All right, get ready. Write them down. Go the other way.
Oh, here we go.
Our picks next.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I will say, John, when David went all Rough Riders, there all the only thing in my head were bad pornographic jokes, and I kept all of them out. I did not say any of them. And Javier, thank you for that factoid. That's excellent. That's good information. Nothing better than when I got cable at Michigan State after I moved off campus and got Windsor 9 on the Lansing cable. We did not get Windsor 9 in the Saginaw cable. So that was my first experience with Hockey Night in Canada, and it was glorious.
They had the CFL game on, the smallest square they had at the sports book on Sunday. I laughed. I'm like, oh my God. They literally do have everything. I love how we're saying the problem with the Bills, because they're probably going to win double-digit games again and go to the playoffs again. But if you look closely, they have not drafted well, and they've handed out some contracts. Because, I mean, Mark, I don't know about you, but when you look at the Bills, how many guys do you think you should be paying on that roster? Besides the quarterback and the running back, who else are you paying?
They overpaid Oliver. Milano's worth money, but he doesn't stay healthy. They don't have one good defensive back. I mean, not anybody you'd get excited about, if you know what I mean.
I think they grossly overpaid Rousseau also.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, what they're already done with Coleman. They moved up to get him. I mean, here's what I find interesting, though, David. Let's just say the playoffs ended like they are right now. Okay, these 7 teams: Broncos, Patriots, Colts, Steelers, Chargers, Bills, Jags. Who do you think Vegas would have as the AFC favorite?
Broncos.
Bills. I think
Bills would have to win 3 games all on the road.
I understand.
Okay. Well, based on how you said it right now, technically Denver's the 1. But that could change. I mean, the Colts are the 3 only because they've played 1 less game than both the Patriots and the Broncos. Because when they play the same amount of games, they're actually the 1.
Right now, the Colts are the favorite to win the AFC, then the Bills. Broncos and Chiefs are tied for 3rd.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kirwan in 40 minutes time here on Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So far, just one poll question. If you've been with us all week, though, you know we get inspired throughout the show. I mean, heck, I think yesterday at this time we had none, and then a segment later we had 2. But right now, Shedeur Sanders, first NFL start Sunday in Vegas against the Raiders. So you rooting for or against the kid? People have seemingly already made up their minds whether or not they're on the train or off. I never vote against an individual.
I haven't voted because I don't care, even though I'm the one that came up with the question.
Yes, you did.
I don't root against anyone. However, so many people have been so insufferable about Shedeur Sanders since August. I'm rooting against them, not him.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
It does.
You at least understand my thinking there?
It does. I mean, because obviously ever since Mel Kiper had his out-of-body experience during the 3-day NFL draft about Shedeur Sanders, people, many of them have been worked up into a bit of a frenzy about him.
So we shall see. Obviously had the whole practice week with the ones. He's going to be prepared to be the starter. They're going to have a game plan for him. So we'll see how it goes against the Raiders. But David, before we get to our picks, quickly, if you allow me, I read a text earlier in the show from a gentleman who, in an attempt to be funny, wanted to change the name of our show.
Right.
Well, he happened to be listening.
Okay.
And then just inundated me with a slew of texts. And while saying he didn't mean to offend me by what he said, and trust me, I've received death threats. Your little shot at me being fat is not offensive.
Right. Inaccurate, but not offensive.
It really isn't. He offended me more by what he said after.
No offense, but here it comes.
He goes into this whole diatribe about I haven't seen you in a long time. And, here's my name. I don't care. But then he gets into, at the end of it, I get a Go Tigers. LSU defending national champions will play in Jacksonville on February 20, 21, and 22 against Indiana, Notre Dame, and UCF. But then again, the national sports media is ignorant of college baseball. And I simply responded that people don't care about college baseball until the College World Series, with the exception of a few markets. The media covers what people watch. And I think that's a fair statement, David. You and I have been at this a long time. The media covers what people watch. This is what I got offended with, his response. You and Dave do a fair job of covering Florida schools. A fair job? Really? Thanks, sir. Really appreciate that. We do a fair job. It's like the flipping marketing manager 20 years ago that said, hey, we think they're going to be somewhat successful. Hey, you know what? Up yours. You got fired so long ago and I'm still working, pal. You're at a Target putting bags together. Holy Toledo. You do a fair job.
Plus he called me Dave.
Exactly.
Ugh.
All right, now I'm going to go forward my picks.
Only J.P. Shadrick and Pat Kirwan get to call me Dave. Okay, and that's because I've had beers with both of them.
All right, I was 3-2 last week. You were 3-6.
Right. I needed that many picks to equal the number of wins you had.
I'm going to try to do a fair job with these picks, and I'll probably go 1-4. I happen to agree with Lee on one of the games he picked. I have Miami, and I have Miami winning big because I think they need it. And I do think Vatek with a new coach, there are guys going, I'm out of here. That he ain't going to want me. I got to figure out where I'm going next. So I think after the firing and now hiring of James Franklin, I just think Virginia Tech's year is kind of lost. And I think Miami needs to try to do everything they can to give themselves a shot. You mentioned the Missouri quarterback coming back. That didn't work out too well when Oklahoma brought their quarterback early.
No, it
back
didn't.
Early, rather. And he did not play well. So if he plays, I like my pick of Oklahoma even more. Oklahoma minus 6.5. I'll lay the number with the Sooners. That defense is fantastic. If this kid comes back and plays against that defense, I think it's a mistake. But either way, the Oklahoma defense is going to turn Missouri over. That's going to lead to points. Give me the Sooners. David, I'm picking the biggest game of the week. That's the game you're at. And I'm taking the points. These teams both score a lot. 10.5 seems to me to be a lot of points with those USC receivers. It's probably the second best receiving group in the country. I'm going to take the Trojans plus the 10.5. This is just a hunch. This Jacksonville team that rides the roller coaster, this is going to be the bad week. I'm going to take the Cardinals in an upset. I'm getting 3 out west. And Detroit was awful offensively last week. Awful. I know the Eagles' defense is spectacular, but Detroit's had a little roller coaster ride. When they play bad teams, they score lots of points. David, what are the New York Giants?
I believe they're 2-9.
That's a bad team.
And they give up a lot of points.
Give me the Lions minus 10.
All right. So, real simple. I'm going with the worst teams in college football against the spread, and I'm picking against them. Georgia State's the worst team in the country against the spread. They're playing Troy. I'm laying the 10.5 against Georgia State. Virginia Tech, awful against the spread. So, like Mark and Lee, I'm taking the Canes and laying the points. Baylor, only 2 wins against the spread all year. They're at Arizona, taking the Wildcats, laying 6.5. Texas, 2-7-1 against the spread. I'll take Arkansas in the 8.5 against the Longhorns. Minnesota, bad against the spread. I'll take Northwestern and lay the 3.5. All right, one pick of my own. Florida State hasn't won on the road in 2 years. Dave Doran is coaching for his job. You pass to beat NC State. Florida State runs. Give me NC State in the 6.5 against Florida State. And do you know that the Steelers, who have been playing football for nearly 100 years, do you know how many times the Steelers have beaten the Bears in Chicago? The answer is once. Once. And it happened with Bill Cowher as coach in 1995. The Bears are 12-1 at home all time against the Steelers. Now, they played a lot of times in the 40s and 50s and 60s. But still, in the last 50 years in Chicago, the Bears are 4-1 at home. Mike Tomlin's never won at Soldier Field. It's the third meeting in 30 years in Chicago between the Steelers and the Bears. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is playing. Give me the Bears, and I'll lay the 2.5.
Going back to our old days when we were on 770 and we used to do a Super 7.
Yep. 6 college picks. I bet against the 5 worst teams against the spread so far this year in the country. If Florida State hasn't won a road game in 2 years, why should I bet for them? So I'm betting against them. And Steelers have won once in Chicago all time. So I know I've just jinxed the Bears. I don't know what to tell you. Did I mention the Steelers have only won once in Chicago in 90 years? Okay.
By the way, Javier gave us a good little tidbit there when we were talking about the Gators and Vols. 17-3, Florida at home against Tennessee.
And they beat Florida in 01, Spurrier's last home game. They beat, what's his
last time
there?
the Vols won in Gainesville was 2003. That's right. The last 20, 17-3.
Will Greer with the miracle in 2015. Felipe Franks in 2017 with the bomb at the buzzer.
Miller and Moulton. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
At the Diamond District, we know what you want. Experience wall-to-wall diamonds during our Diamond event, November 21st through 23rd. This is our biggest event of the year, featuring an expanded collection of GIA certified diamonds, designer jewelry, and exclusive collections from Tacori. This is the perfect time to start your holiday shopping. More diamonds, more choices. November 21st through 23rd, only at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Zazos there. I don't know if you're still here, if you just dropped in and out really quickly. We've been a thing for about 20 years on air. We've been doing the Twitch thing for a while. And no, I don't think I would get hired as a varsity football coach. I wouldn't want to get hired as a varsity football coach. I already know what it means to work very hard for very little money. I don't need to do that more often.
I was just curious by the comment. I didn't realize we were trying to be coaches.
If I were to get hired as a coach for a high school, it would probably be in hockey because that's probably the area I know most to teach. But the game, that one has passed me by too, because it's completely different now than it used to be. And I'm good with that. No, Michael, it got the anti. It got what it was supposed to get. I will tell you, David, that Bills-Dolphins trade that they wouldn't flip could end up being their Achilles heel this year.
Well, if you think about when Buffalo was best under Josh Allen, it was with Diggs. That's just a fact.
My only real problem with the Waddle, the only thing I would agree with the Bills, I don't like how much Waddle drops the damn ball. He does not have great hands if you want to make him a one, if you know what I mean.
And yet at the same time, they should have won the AFC title game last year.
Did you read that story I sent you?
I didn't. But we could get into it if you want. Or we could wait till 9:21.
We got to wait. Because
Okay.
you need to kind of read it to.
Okay.
There's just a couple of things that are funny. Like the one kid's name is Innocent. That's his last name. There's.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour when Pat Kirwan joins us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question today, Shedeur Sanders getting his first career NFL start Sunday in Vegas against the Raiders. This is a draft pick game right here. Because don't they have the same record?
Yes.
Vying for, all those 2-win teams that are competing against one another. There's like 5 of them as to who's going to finish second and who's going to be 6th in the draft. But are you rooting for Shedeur or against him? Where are you on all the noise with Shedeur Sanders in the last 7 months?
David, by strength of schedule, Vegas is the best 2-8 team out there. Cleveland, the worst 2-8 team. They're picking third currently. Vegas picking sixth. So a lot on the line. A lot on the line in the draft game matchup. And I'll tell you what, Thanksgiving needs to get here. Some people need to be thankful, mostly our texters. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, wide open, 21,000 the number. Lot of snark coming on the text line today, David. Lot of snark.
Wow.
Gentleman says, thank you for taking Oklahoma. Sincerely, a diehard Mizzou fan. Really? Really? I simply texted back. I said, wait a minute. I'm not David.
Well played.
Another snarky comment on the text line. Mark, please ask David to pick a few more games. Christmas is right around the corner, and I could use a few extra bucks.
What are you talking about? I've already picked 92 of them. Okay, this takes me to 99 picks before Thanksgiving.
An anti-Nebraska guy here sent me a text. He's giving us his lock of the year, David.
Ooh.
He's texted the show twice. Once he was angry when I talked about the Nebraska sellout streak. He says it's a fraud. They're a fraud. Businesses buy up the tickets at the last minute so they can keep the streak alive. That was his first text. His second text was simply, lock of the year is Utah lay the points against K-State. K-State sucks and has major injury issues. This is coming from a diehard K-State fan. All right.
The number's 17.5.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
We'll hold you to it. There are a couple of lines that just has me shaking my head going, really?
Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
All right.
So Georgia Tech's at home. They're 9-1. They're playing Pitt, who's 7-3. Georgia Tech is less than a field goal favorite.
Yep.
After the spanking that Pitt got last week? Really? Huh. That's interesting to me.
Well, Georgia Tech in their last two games lost to NC State, giving up 48, and then needed a last-second field goal to beat Boston College, who is regarded as the worst Power 4 team in college football.
It's true.
Either they or Oklahoma State they are the two worst Power 4 teams right now in college football. So I do think and I know you're right. Pitt got whacked last week, but Georgia Tech here in the last month has not looked great.
So Houston is home. They're ranked. They're 8-2. Whether they should be ranked or not, hey, come on, it's a game. We've talked about that at length. They're hosting TCU. TCU's okay. They're 6-4. TCU's not great on the road.
And TCU just got destroyed by BYU last week. Destroyed.
Right.
Like 44-13 or something like that.
So how come Houston at home ranked is only a 1.5 point favorite against TCU? What am I missing there? All right. Then there's one more that I find curious. I do think, by the way, I love the Oklahoma play against Missouri. I mean, Oklahoma's gone to Tennessee and won. They've gone to Alabama and won. And you're only asking them to win by 7 at home against Missouri? Okay. All right. I'm just going to throw this out there. There are reports that Ohio State's going to rest both of their star wide receivers against Rutgers. If that's true, the week before the Michigan game, do you think they cover the 33-point spread against Rutgers?
I wouldn't bet this game. I see where you're going, because the other thing to me, and David, you brought this up, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. What is the weakest part of the Ohio State football team? It's their run game.
Their running game, yes.
It's their run game. So before the Michigan game, where no matter what, no matter who the coaches are, no matter what year it is, not only do you have to win the Ohio State-Michigan game, but both fan bases would like you to win it a certain way. And that's beating the crap out of your opponent. And don't you think that this is a little bit of a test game for Ohio State to try to run the ball a little bit more and get that part of their offense right? Because let's be honest, if this team could figure out a running game, they would even be that much more of a number one team in the country. It's the one thing they don't do great. Their defense is great. Their receivers are great. This quarterback is playing great.
But
so I can see this being a little bit of a slog against Rutgers, where they're just going to try to, establish that offensive line and run.
Yeah, I mean, don't you see it being more of like a 34-13 type of win? A 21-point win than a 35-point win. How long do you think either wide receiver plays? I mean, they've held them out of practice a good chunk of this week. I mean, the Michigan game is looming. I mean, are you really going to risk banged up players at home against Rutgers?
Here's the only thing that could disrupt what you're talking about. Ohio State could set themselves up for 3 or 4 easy scores by what the defense does.
It's true.
That's the part why I'd stay away from a game like that. I agree with everything you're saying, but if you know what I mean.
So Georgia Tech at home, a very small favorite. Houston at home, a very small favorite. Oklahoma, a smaller favorite at home than I think most of us expected. I think most of us thought this would be an 8.5, 9-point spread.
But you mentioned Georgia Tech and Pitt. There's another pretty big ACC game that I don't think many of you are even paying attention to. Noon kick, 11 Central. Louisville's at SMU. SMU right now has a shot to get back to the ACC title game. They're 5-1 in conference. Georgia Tech plays Pitt. One of those two teams is done. One will have 2 losses. Now, I think Virginia and Georgia Tech would go ahead of SMU if they went out. But if Pitt wins and SMU wins, I'm not exactly sure. So SMU still has playoff hopes alive in a game against Louisville, who's watched their season crumble. So I just think that's a game that's on my radar, David.
It is amazing and amazingly sad to me that the Vols and the Gators game has no juice whatsoever. Wow. The state of the Florida football program, that they're hosting the Vols. Now, I will say they're getting a nice time slot. They're getting the night game on ABC Saturday. So I hope for their sake they play well. But, wow, Vols and the Gators, and it has no juice at all.
You asked a question of Bud Elliott earlier this week, and you just said, what's your latest that you're hearing on Lane? And he didn't have a whole lot. David, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
What's the latest you're hearing on Penn State? Because I'm not hearing much of anything. And you and I both believe the Nittany Lions made a mistake getting rid of James Frank. I think you did. I thought we were in the same school on that one. But I'm not hearing anything.
No, I was all in on Elko. You know that.
Right. And a buddy of mine texted me Saturday as my Spartans were losing again and said, shouldn't Michigan State just hire Pat Fitzgerald? Because he can do more with nothing than any coach ever. I mean, what he did at Northwestern was unbelievable. And my response was, shouldn't Penn State hire him? Could they do, who are they going to get that's better than Pat Fitzgerald? And I'm not kidding.
Well, the one thing you have to be honest about, even though you and I are both huge Pat Fitzgerald guys, has the sport ever changed more in 3 years than college football in the last 3 years? I mean, he's put all this time in as a player and coach in a sport that is almost entirely different from the sport he left.
And I know he was accused of a lot of things, but though they've been proven not true. But when the Penn State AD talked about who he wanted, the type of person he wanted, doesn't Fitzgerald kind of check most of those boxes?
Yeah. I'm hearing, I will say, I've heard two names that I have found interesting. One is the James Madison coach, young guy, 48, I believe. Robert Chesney, took over for who.
Right.
All right. Yeah, he's 18-5, by the way, James Madison.
And he did have to get new players because Signetti took all of the good ones with him to Indiana.
Right. Okay. He's born in Pennsylvania. All right. Has Pennsylvania and nearby ties, if that's important. The other one I've heard is Heartline.
Well, I think that would be a great hire.
That, who's the next assistant who's yet to be a head coach, who may be the great head coach in waiting, the next Kirby, the next Dan Lanning, is Heartline at Ohio State. Those are the two that I've just kind of heard a little something about, but, I thought they were all in on Elko, and he's re-upping with A&M.
So I'm just, I've seen some names. It's the usual suspects. Marcus Freeman name gets associated with every team and every job out there. Yeah. David and I don't think he would ever leave Notre Dame. When you look at the playoff rankings right now, how could you leave Notre Dame? I'm serious. They don't deserve to be ahead of Alabama. And in my opinion, they don't deserve to be ahead of Miami. And yet they are. Here are all these athletic directors and football people that are on this committee. Notre Dame not in a conference. You would think that would work against Notre Dame. Everything's working for them. I wouldn't leave. Not in a million years. And I know there are a couple restrictions on getting transfer players there. That's why they get mostly grad transfers. I get that there's still academically a couple of things that you don't have at Notre Dame that you have at other schools. But I don't know what to tell you. Money's not a problem. Making the playoffs not a problem. And now getting a bye, that's not a problem either.
A couple of things have happened lately in which I think Gruden's in play in Arkansas. It's a big blow to Arkansas's ego and to the money people at Arkansas's ego that James Franklin chose Virginia Tech over Arkansas. And I'm wondering if this is part of how they compensate. Silly season, and it's going to be silly as you know what next week, and out of control the following. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan, the weekend in the NFL, next.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, Pat.
Good morning there, Mark. How are you, man?
I'm good. I've got my stone crab order in with the family coming in next week, picking them up on Tuesday.
I might have to make.
But I know Thanksgiving, you're running around. You got to be everywhere for games. You're not even going to be here, are you?
No, we have Thursday. There's no reason to go back down on Sunday night or Monday morning to come back on Wednesday night.
That's what I figured. I literally I was about to order from the guy, and I'm like, I had your number. I'm like, it's Thanksgiving week. He's too damn busy.
Yeah, right after that, though, the first week of December, if you're involved, then I'll be involved. I've been telling my brother and Childress and those guys are now like, well, don't talk about it. Do something about it. Yeah. I'll probably order enough to feed their sorry asses, but first tell them there was only enough for me. Sorry.
There you go. Sorry, they only had a couple pounds. You guys are SO.
And Mark thought I should send you a video of me eating them, which is what I'm doing right now for you. I might, you know what? When the next game I bring them to, I'm going to bring one stone crab each. Here. Enjoy yourself. Man, it was hard I couldn't stop watching Houston's defense.
Man, oh man. 12 hits on quarterback, 8 sacks.
That was the best defensive performance I've seen this year. It was so stinking aggressive. And they were destroying guys. Deion Dawkins is a good tackle. He got his ass kicked.
I thought, I don't pay attention to much what announcers say anymore, but I thought that first hit on Josh when they said how he held on the ball there. I know he was a little banged up, but that was a violent hit. Like he took some shots last night.
Oh yeah, he's not going to last that way. I mean, you can be big and strong, but ligaments are all the same size. Yeah. Well, their offense has to be pretty stinking bad to have the record they have with that defense.
Man, you got that right.
And I will say, we'll talk about it on the air, but they still have enough time to scramble back into this.
Well, I mean, they got the Colts twice.
Yep. Not good.
I mean, they're not out of it. There's a world right now where Buffalo, Kansas City, and Baltimore all miss the playoffs. I don't think it's going to happen, but put it this way. I'd give Baltimore the best shot. I give Buffalo the second best shot, although they're really close, and KC's in trouble.
Yeah, they are. And I would say anyone that has to play Houston, it's not only that they'll destroy your offensive line, they're probably going to send 2 or 3 of them to the blue tent. It was like the right tackle last night couldn't finish the game. Deion Dawkins was obliterated. The center was laying on the ground like he was run over by a truck. It was bad. But I'm with you. It'd be what the heck were the odds if someone would take that bet that the 3 teams you mentioned didn't make the playoffs this year? What do you think those odds were? 2,000 to 1? 10,000 to 1? Man. Well, another quarterback has surfaced as a guy. Davis Mills now joins Daniel Jones and Mac Jones. Interesting figures showing up here. Davis reminds me of Flacco.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Well, halfway home in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers, Naples. Final hour of the show, Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas, Live Oak, Lake City, and surrounding areas. Pat Kirwan joins us at this day and time. He has for, a couple decades. You know Pat. Weekday afternoons, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. Saturdays, 2 to 5. CBS's NFL Today show on Sundays. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Go to pinchersusa.com and buy your gift cards for the holidays. Pat, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, fellas. Doing great. We're going to be home this weekend, and now that the CBS people think it's exciting to go out on the road, and we had the mechanical bull thing last week, I jokingly said, "What's next, skydiving?" And they looked right at me and said, "Yes, something like that's next." I go, "Okay. I'll be saying goodbye to my friends and not taking that trip with you. I don't want to see you die." But yeah, it's been fun. It's a different year, totally, and it's a different year for a lot of teams. Mark and I were just talking about, is it possible that Kansas City, Buffalo don't make the playoffs? It's possible. Maybe even Baltimore. So it's an interesting year, and I had a great conversation with Stephen Jones yesterday. And boy, Stephen wanted to talk about their down 5 defense, which when you put Williams-Q in the middle of Clark and Osa, they got Clowney and Fowler on the ends. They got backup ends. But for the listeners, they really think this is going to take them somewhere. And they're going to find out right away with Philly coming to town. Because when you get in a down 5, you guys know, for your listeners, you can't double team anybody. And they're going to be able to slant that front, pinch the front, 2-gap the front, whatever they want. But, man, he generally doesn't talk about scheme with me unless I try to provoke him. But he wanted to talk about how this all comes together. So the question to you guys is it too late for the Cowboys to crawl into this race?
Well, we talked about it earlier in the week, and we think that they've already suffered too much damage. That the tie is huge against Dallas. If they were 5-5, you see a much more realistic way to 10-7. But with the tie, they have to go 10-6-1 because we don't think 9-7-1 will be enough. And we think that they're probably on the outside looking in because they still have a fairly difficult schedule, including the Chiefs and the Eagles over the next 7 days. One thing I do want to point out, Pat just went nitty gritty there with scheme. We charted it, Pat, Monday night. They only used that 5-man defensive line lineup less than a handful of plays. They used it on the first play of the game. The Raiders gashed them for a big pass play. They didn't use it again till late third quarter. I agree with their line of thinking, but for whatever it's worth, they hardly used it against the Raiders.
Well, the Raiders are not a true test. He's my best friend, but they're not very good. Number two, this is how they think they're going to stuff Saquon. And if you stuff Saquon, you put the game in the lap of Jalen. And I think they'd like to take their chances that they can't score enough points if Jalen has to run it by minimizing Saquon. So I kind of see it as a scheme for this game. We can count them as it happens. But Steven,
Eagles, Chiefs, and Lions next 3. If they're going to get to where they want to go to, they've got to win 2 of those 3 games. That's just a fact.
Yep. Let's talk about the Chiefs for a second, because I know David's all over schedule, but it's the losses that Kansas City have that's devastating to them. They really lost the tiebreaker with all the teams that are in the wild card positions right now, including Jacksonville. So I would think things are going to be pretty bleak for that football team, which leads me to a question, David. This is right up your alley. And I think I know the answer, but I got to ask, would a season like this that fizzles out completely be grounds for Andy to retire?
My guess is he won't want to go out this way, okay? That he'll want to at least leave it in better hands for whoever it is that he's leaving it for. And my guess is Andy has the guy in mind that he wants to leave it for. But yes, I think so. I think we have to slowly start looking at, in the key spots, just how old have the Chiefs gotten in certain positions, and are they going to need to take a step back for Mahomes' second act, if you will. One of the glorious things that the Patriots did, Pat, was they managed to keep winning while constantly retooling over 20 seasons. Okay.
Yep.
The Chiefs are going to be hard pressed, it seems, to continue what the Patriots did. It didn't mean the Patriots always went to the AFC title game or the Super Bowl, but the Patriots had 20 consecutive winning seasons. I think they made the playoffs, 18 times out of the 20? I mean, it was remarkable. 19, I think. Or no, 18. So that's where I think Kansas City's facing. They're now going to have to retool on the fly. Can they?
Well, what helped the Patriots do what they did is the way Brady structured his contracts helped a lot. Wasn't the only thing that happened. Number 2, they kept the same coach for the whole trip. And number 3, Brady never had to change his offense. So those things kind of blend in with the survival over a long period of time. So when I stood behind Kansas City last week, I felt I was looking at a bunch of older players. And to get rid of them, especially with some of the cap issues, Chris Jones contract, et cetera, gets a little tougher. I think the Patriots, Bill's an interesting guy. He was very disciplined about money. And he did not overpay guys, and he was letting guys walk. We can think of some of the great players they said goodbye to. The pass rusher, they sent him to Arizona. They weren't going to pay him. Did he ever use the franchise tag, David? History question. Except on a kicker, did he ever? And maybe not even there. I don't think he's ever used a franchise tag.
I think he did on Gostkowski a couple times, but no, he never used it on a position player that I can recall.
Yeah, those things count. So we'll see. Anyway, that was just, I wanted to hear from you two guys on that stuff. Davis Mills, is he a legit candidate for somebody? Or are we
No.
just watching a team with a great defense and a kid that can't win somewhere else?
A great defense, and let's be honest, the Bills' defense is not good. You know, Tampa scored 32 on them last week. That's supposed to be enough to win in that league. So when you look at the Bills yesterday, was that a Thursday night road game?
Yes.
I mean, what do you chalk it up to just how bad their offensive line played? And the fact of the matter is the Bills' defense is not very good, Pat.
No, it's not. And it's the Josh Allen show. And the week before, when he's on his game, we see what happens. But I hate Thursday nights. And last night was a great example. And this sounds like I'm defending Buffalo. I'm not. But you have a premier quarterback, maybe the most exciting single person to watch right now. And you're putting him on Thursday. That blue tent, were you guys counting how many guys went in the blue tent or back to the locker room? It's not fair to score 6 touchdowns on a Sunday and get on a plane 3 days later and fly out to play the number 1 defense. It's Thursday night is an abuse of talent, and it's not really the proper thing to do. With all the money they make, they should drop. They won't do it. We know that. They have no conscience when I watch how many guys got hurt.
Quickly, Davis Mills is now 6-19 as a starting quarterback, even though he's 3-0 in the last 3 games. I think we're looking at Cooper Rush from 3 years ago when he went 4-1 as a starter with Dallas.
Right.
That's all.
I agree. Are we looking at Cooper Rush with Mac Jones?
I don't think so.
Me either.
I don't think so. I think I'd be interested in giving that guy a shot. Hey, you talk to Todd Bowles every week, and we had our Bucs guy on yesterday, and we're pretty dialed in on what goes on in Tampa. But their defense was awful. Their special teams may have been worse. And a lot of people coming at Bowles, and they always come at him. But when the defense goes badly, you know how it goes, Pat. He runs the defense. So the people who don't like Bowles are all pounding their chest right now. What did he say about that effort? What did he say about that defense going forward? Because, you know, it's the offensive guys that have been hurt, Pat. The defense is the one that's playing lousy right now.
Well, maybe it's an exposure issue. Maybe it's like, let's go back and look at all their wins. Isn't it always 2-minute drills by Baker?
Yep.
I mean, so maybe Baker, and without Evans now a different story, but maybe Baker has been covering up that defense. And that after you get past Vita Vea and a run plugger in the middle, it's not very good. And it's okay to be, you know, hidden, if you will, by an offense that comes in rallies to win. So maybe what we're seeing now that the offense is wounded is what the real defense is. And I think those things are true at a lot of places. You just both said the same thing about Buffalo. They're not very good. So maybe that's really the case. And we like to talk about Winfield, and we love to talk about Vita, and every so often we still talk about Levante, but really, maybe they're just a mediocre defense. And we're going to find out this weekend for sure.
Got about a minute before we take our first break. Your thoughts on the Jags' performance and win, because we wondered, would they be suffering the same fate as the Bears last year after that crushing loss? And obviously, it couldn't have gone differently. Your thoughts on Liam Cohen and the Jags last week?
Well, I'm a fan of Liam, period. And I think Liam has a no-nonsense attitude. It goes back to the embarrassing loss prior to that win when he threw his headset down. I'm sure he rode that team pretty hard. And I'm sure he's riding the quarterback pretty hard. He's going to squeeze out some more wins. I still would not bet on them making it to the postseason. Look, they've played 4 games against playoff teams, playoff qualifiers at this point. They're 2-2. Do you want to give them credit for the 2 they won? Or do you want to look at the 2 they lost and said, man, that's really who they are? I think when the big games come at the end, even if they made it, I think they'd be out real fast. I don't think they're going to make it. I think one team, and we talked about it Tuesday, maybe it's Pittsburgh falling down to the spot. I don't know. But I don't see Jacksonville knows how to sustain excellence.
He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, which is weekdays 3 to 7 Eastern and Saturdays 2 to 5. Sundays, he's part of CBS's NFL Today show. He joins us twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
What's your weekend schedule, David?
Only time all year that my Saturday and Monday games are in the same time zone. I'm at Oregon, but I can get out Saturday night after the game and fly to Frisco, which is where our Monday game is. So I'll actually be in a hotel probably, it'll be after midnight Eastern, but I'll probably be in a hotel about 9:30 Pacific time Saturday night.
Nice.
Yeah. So Mark had a great idea. I've never gone. He said I should spend on Sunday. I should try to make arrangements now and go see Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Go do that. It's a cool tourist attraction. It really is.
It is. It's an eerie feeling when you're crossing the bay to go out there.
And it's eerier when you're down in the bottom, the kind of the bowels, the one area there. I really, really enjoyed that tour.
All I can say is if you're going to escape, do not try to escape on the outgoing tide.
Right.
You'll be under the Golden Gate Bridge in 5 minutes. Yeah, that's what, that's because I like the water and I really pay attention to tides and stuff. I looked at that and said, there's no way guys lived in this thing. Crazy. Yeah, go do it. Are the 49ers? No, they're not. You're seeing those guys on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no one left up there. Not in the old days of the Raiders.
I will say the 10 o'clock games are going to be good. That's the only problem. I mean, you got Colts and Chiefs. You've got Vikings, Packers, Steelers, Bears. I mean,
we got two good 1 o'clock games, which I think I've said that to you guys more this year than any other year. 1 o'clock games that are good. I'm so down on how the league treats 1 o'clock, but we have Pitt, Chicago. We have Indy, Kansas City. That's enough.
Hey, right now in 3 weeks at 1 o'clock, CBS has Chargers at Chiefs and Bills at Patriots. How about that? And apparently, I thought one of those games, Mark, I think that Steelers game is going to remain a Monday nighter.
The Steelers Dolphins?
Because apparently between who's on Thursday night football the following week, who's playing Saturday, that, there's a lot of rules involving certain teams can't get flexed to Monday night if they're playing on certain days and times immediately afterwards. And I think, Pat, that's a phenomenal week of games. I mean, Seahawks play the Colts, okay?
Yep.
And there's like 6 terrific games December 15th. And I don't think, or 14th, and I don't think ABC is going to get their hands on any of them.
Good. It's about time we left a 1 o'clock window for the fan who loves football. It's go to church, get your bagels, sit down, and start watching until midnight. But they think it starts at 4:25.
You should take a look at Sunday, December 14th, and look at that slate. It's incredible how good it is.
Well, I'm afraid to look because then CBS will tell us we're flying to one of them.
Well, I thought one of them might be New England for Bills Patriots, to be honest.
Well, you know what has happened to all 4 trips we've been on is that we're broadcasting for a 4:25 game,
right?
Which is really weird. Everybody, including me, wants to do one where we go right to the game at 1 o'clock. I know that the guys were all telling the guys upstairs that they want to go out again.
Well, part of the problem with those 1 o'clock games also is they kick off right at 1:01, and they do the anthem in the final 5 minutes of your pregame. And, the pregame logistics to kick off the game would interfere with you guys doing your show.
Yeah, we'd probably be done at like 12:50.
Yeah, right.
Which is fine. We pack it in pretty good. But I think a lot of guys feel, and me included, like it's a bit unnatural to do this show noon to 1 live stadium, and then, hey, we'll be back at 4:25 for the game.
Right.
It doesn't connect the same way. And it also, not that they care, but the crowd would be twice as big if we were doing a 1 o'clock game.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Our remaining moments, about 10 minutes with Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio, CBS Sports. Joining us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Go to pinchersusa.com and get your gift cards, a terrific stocking stuffer gift. All right, Colts at Chiefs. Colts, they lost at the Rams, but they've beaten some good teams. This could put a fork in the Chiefs. Colts at Chiefs, how do you see the matchup?
Well, if you asked me 6 months ago, I'd say this is a runaway Colt disaster for them, but they're different now. I will say Kansas City's defense is still pretty good. Colts are 2-2 against playoff teams. Pacheco's back. So what happens when Pacheco's back? He's not the savior, but they will run the ball more. And they are also, when Pacheco plays, it's interesting, 15 carries is his mark. When he carries 15 times, and you look at these guys, they're like 19-2. And man, did they look like they should have run the ball last week. So I know people are in Andy's ear about running the ball. The scary part is this: Kansas City is 1-5 against playoff qualifiers at this time. Kansas City probably take Indianapolis in this game after what I witnessed last week.
All right, Vikings and the Packers. Look, we all know that J.J. McCarthy has mostly been bad, except for when he played on the road in the division. Then he looked like a world beater against Detroit. Green Bay, running backs injured, tight ends out. That offense is different without them. When you look at this game, what do you see in the Packers? Because I'm still trying to figure out who Green Bay is, Pat.
Yeah, well, there's only 7 teams that have given up less than 20 points. I talk about this every week with you guys. Green Bay is one of them. So their defense, to me, is played fairly stubborn. The best quarterback on the field has a green jersey on. Minnesota has not done really anything since the bye. They're 1-4. And the disturbing part is 9 giveaways. So you got a quarterback who's in a learning cycle, people are already starting to talk about they don't want him there anymore. It's incredible how spoiled those Viking fans are. They sure didn't want to keep Darnold after his end-of-the-year performance. I like Green Bay a lot in this game. And I know Minnesota swept them last year, but that was a whole different world. And with Darnold last year, they threw for 633 yards in those 2 games. And that's how you get full use of Justin and Addison and all those guys. I just don't think McCarthy can do it. He's not ready for prime time. Give me the Packers.
Steelers at the Bears, 2 division leaders. Thank you very much. Pittsburgh's history, they don't do well in Chicago. We don't know if Rodgers is playing. Your thoughts on the Steelers at Bears?
Yeah. Well, Chicago might be a mirage, and you can confront me on this all you want, and I'll try to defend my position. But they've only played 1 playoff qualifier, folks, and they're 0-1. They have not played a rough schedule. Their schedule's getting brutal. Then they have 6 games coming up against teams that are qualified for the playoffs at this time. So here comes the exposure, which I think is going to happen. May not happen in this one, but it's going to happen, and we're going to see them start to fizzle out a little bit more. I love Pittsburgh's tight end attack. The 3 tight, actually there's a 4th with Hayward, but let's just say the 3. They have 69 catches and a bunch of touchdowns. That's the offense that I think you're going to see. They're going to try to run the ball. It might work, it might not, but I think eventually it's going to be like 35 passes from Rodgers or Mason Rudolph. I will tell you, someone told me, I won't mention his name, you might be able to figure it out. He thought the Steelers would be better with Rudolph at this time. Do I like Chicago? I don't like Chicago against teams like this. We're going to find out. Now, the contain rushers is the whole secret here. This is Cower and me talking. They got 3 guys in Pittsburgh that know how to contain, and they will not let our friend go outside, Mr. Caleb. I think he'll be stuck in the pocket. Let's see if he can throw the ball from the pocket. I'll take Pittsburgh in an ugly one.
Mark, did you have a smile last week when they finally threw the ball to the tight end that you and I have been screaming for 2.5 years they should throw the ball to, and he's destroying people running down the sideline?
and
it's Rodgers' favorite target. He loves throwing to Washington.
He does, and he said it at camp. Like I was there for the first 2 days of hitting, and he was like, "Man, this kid from Georgia is ridiculous. How come they never throw to him?" I said, "Well, it's your job now, big boy." He loves them.
All right. You mentioned talking to Stephen Jones and the Cowboys' plan, but you didn't give us your thought of who's going to win. The Eagles, they should win. They're the better roster. It's not close. And I know you talked about stopping Barkley. I'm curious of what Dallas is going to do against this Philadelphia defense. Dallas has been terrific offensively this year, but Philadelphia's got it going on the defensive side of the football, Pat.
They do. Those physical guys inside, they're disturbing. I think Dak can handle himself in this game. He's got the 2 wideouts that'll help him stay in the game. I'm not a big fan of Dallas, but I think there's something odd about Philadelphia. How do you win 6 games and throw for 150 yards a game average? That shouldn't happen. And they're always complaining with each other. The Browns story, the Saquon is not as effective as he has been. I'm going to go out on a limb and take Dallas in this one. I think there's a little enthusiasm there, and they, not me, they think they're still in it, which if they've convinced their players of that, they'll play hard. Give me Dallas this time. We got to take a chance on teams like this once in a while. Philadelphia, to me, I think they're going to the Super Bowl most likely in the NFC, but I don't know that they have. Here's the question to the 2 of you. Have you seen them be in the 4th quarter down 14 points and have to play 2-minute football?
The Rams game. I mean, it wasn't quite that scenario, but, they were down 3 scores late 3rd quarter. It's the only time they've really been in that situation. They've had to do it, and somehow, some way they did.
Yeah, I'm not betting on them to be able to do it. And I do think Dallas can score enough points at home to put that kind of pressure on them. And now all these weird stories coming out about Jalen, and it's way too much negativity, and nothing like a loss to get everybody back on track.
What is it? 51-14 as a starter, won a Super Bowl, went to another one. I mean, people can't hate this guy enough. It is amazing. All right, the other guy that people have really strong opinions about, it's a game that only has draft position meaning, but Shedeur Sanders is going to get a start. Will he get a win, and how many times will he get sacked, Pat?
Well, Las Vegas is a sad show, and he should get a little breathing room, but I think Crosby's going to try to tag him as many times as he can. Pete, I talked to Pete yesterday. His players, his veterans, they're still intact. He doesn't feel like he's got a group that's fallen apart emotionally, psychologically. I would not bet on Shedeur Sanders in the game. So here's a chance for the Raiders at home to make good. And Shedeur, to me, first off, he retreats backwards too much.
Yep.
He's not fast. He's slow. And he has this notion that he can back up out of a pressure call, which is what Crosby will be doing, and then think he's going to survive it. He won't. So look for a bunch of mistakes from Shedeur, maybe an interception or two. I thought I'd never take the Raiders again. This will probably be the last time.
If the Patriots just beat the teams with losing records, and we've got a minute, they'll go 13-4 the rest of the way. They can afford to lose to the Bills and the Ravens, and they can go 13-4. One of those teams is Cincinnati this week. 30 seconds, Pat. Any concern about the Patriots slipping up? They've won 8 in a row.
No, I think they're getting stronger. Stevenson's going to be back. Booty's going to be back. They're very focused. They might let their guard down now that Buffalo lost again, but I don't think they will. This coach knows how to motivate them, and the young quarterback, I like his running skills as much as everything else. He's averaging 6 runs a game right now the last couple of weeks and a 72% completion. No, I don't think they will. Mike won't let it happen. Mike will bench a guy that's not playing hard. Other guys think I'll talk to him on Monday. Not Mike. You go over there and sit down. So I think he's got their attention.
Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio, moving the chains, CBS's NFL Today show, joining us courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, you can't fake fresh.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Let's see, Michael. Will I be watching the Shadur Sanders game? It might get a TV. There's 4 games on. I don't care about the Falcons and the Saints, so it actually might get a television. But Michael, I got to be honest. You make so many excuses if the narrative doesn't fit what you want. You've been telling us Shadur should have been playing since the preseason because he's such a gifted athlete. First off, he's not a gifted athlete. He's not even close to a gifted athlete. I think he's a really good thrower of the football. He goes backward all the time. He doesn't have speed. He's not elusive. And yet because the O-line can't block. He's played in a half a game, and you're already making excuses for him. I just find it fascinating. Got to figure out what I'm cooking for dinner Sunday. That's a bigger question.
Should probably go with something you're not going to have for like the week following.
I know.
Like Italian or something.
I could just sauce is a lot of work if I were to go pasta. I just made a vat of chicken stock yesterday. A vat. I have more chicken stock than I know what to do with.
Okay.
Yes, I make my own chicken stock, David.
Of course you do. I don't even know what that is.
You know what? My buddy just texted me personally who's listening. Sonny, I think you're right. Maybe it's a steak night on Sunday. That sounds like a winner.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. At the top of the hour, Miller and Moulton will go through their NFL picks straight up. Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question, Shadur Sanders, first NFL start Sunday for Cleveland at the Raiders. You rooting for him or against him? You already sick and tired of him, even though it's very little of his doing? Or are you rooting for him? You're like, man, this kid's gotten a lot of grief for a fifth-round rookie. He's only played 2 quarters.
I'm impressed. While we've not had a lot of votes and people don't seem to care about this question. I mean, based on our other questions, they don't seem to care nearly as much about this one, but 78% are rooting for him. I ultimately pressed for him because I, like you, don't root against players. I want greatness. I don't care where it comes from. Sometimes it can surprise the hell out of us. Every once in a while, you just see something that happens and you go, wow, I'll be damned. So I can't root against him, but I don't have high expectations.
Pat is a lot like you, Mark. Pat picks favorites. I mean, he does. Until the underdog usually proves themselves to Pat, he picks favorites. There's 2 games, however, where he's leaning towards taking the underdog. Right now, he's down on the Chiefs. This is as down as Pat has been on the Chiefs during the Mahomes era.
Ever. I mean, by the way, they are playing the Colts. The Colts, who have the best record in the AFC.
By the way, the Colts, who are also coming off a bye.
Well, I guess they're a half a game behind the Patriots in Denver. But at 8-2, they're one of the top teams in the AFC right now. They're a 3.5-point dog. You think the bettors like the Chiefs? Do you think that line's accurate? Do you think if that wasn't a team like the Chiefs, it would be more like 1.5? Like, I think the Chiefs are getting a 2-point bump in this game because of who they are and people betting favorites, David.
Okay, Mark, put it this way. If the Colts were playing at Houston, who until last night was a 5-5 team, just like the Chiefs are a 5-5 team. The Chiefs are 0-4 in one-score games. The Chiefs are actually, they might be 0-5, but I think they're 0-4 in one-score games. They're 1-4 against playoff teams. If Houston had the same resume and it were the Colts at the Texans, same record, same stats, I think the Colts would have been a 2.5 to a 3.5 point favorite.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think you're spot on.
Which goes to show you that just like when Vegas was still betting on the Ravens at 1-5, the Vegas is not ready to give up on the Chiefs yet, even though they are losing one tiebreaker after another as this season goes along, and it doesn't look as if their 10-7 is going to be good enough to beat anybody. But we'll see. But that's one of the two games in which Pat was kind of hemming and hawing, and I might go Colts based on what I saw up close and personal last week, which is shocking to the two of us. I honestly don't know in recent time if Pat's ever not picked the Chiefs in a game that
Never
we talked about.
Never. He just basically says, I'm taking Mahomes.
I think he did one time, got burned, and said from now on, I'll never pick against Mahomes again. And it might have been that AFC title game 2 years ago in Baltimore. But Pat, at least on this show, and he doesn't make his picks usually until the Sunday 2 to 5 show that he does with his co-host.
Saturday 2 to 5 show.
Saturday. Did I say Sunday?
You did.
My bad. Yes, Saturday 2 to 5. That's usually when he makes his, quote, official picks, unquote. But he says he's going to take Dallas. Pat doesn't take flyers very often. He's taking a flyer on the Cowboys. He believes that there's a little something going on behind the scenes in Dallas in a good way, but that there's also a little something going on behind the scenes in Philly in a bad way.
Can I ask a serious question regarding things behind the scenes in Philadelphia?
Sure.
When is the last time things behind the scenes for the Philadelphia Eagles have been going on in a good way? I mean, it seems like we have one of those old record players, David. And for those of you not old enough to remember, Google it. But when the record would end, the arm would come up and then go back to the beginning. It seems like this is the same record that we've been playing about the Eagles for 3 years.
The record got interrupted about halfway through last season. Remember, the Eagles were 2-2 at one point last season, and it was the same record being played, Mark. And questions about Sirianni. Was he on the hot seat? They had just gone, nothing but winning seasons. They were a year plus removed from a Super Bowl appearance. And yet he was lucky to keep his job after the 2023 season, and they start 2024 2-2. And then the Eagles lost one game the rest of the year. And that was when Jalen, by the way, got hurt midway through a game at Washington, and the Commanders came from behind and won. But Mark, midway through last season, the folks covering the Eagles were changing their tune. They said this year it's different. Saquon was a difference. Vic on defense was a difference. And they kind of changed their tune by midseason and said, no, all's right here on the Philly front. But you're right, Mark. For the last 2.5 years, there's been about 8 happy, calm, solid weeks, maybe 10 in Philadelphia for a team that in the last 2.5 years has yet to lose 10 games.
And I get why. I mean, let me just give you some of the numbers. Total yards, they're 25th. Passing yards, they're 28th. Well, they must be able to run it well. No, 17th. Points, 16th. I mean, that's just an average team. Third down percentage, 28th. Now, they go for it on fourth and are pretty successful there. The defense that we've been putting so much on, The only stat, and it's the most important one, but the only stat that they're above 15th in the league defensively is points allowed, where they're 8th. So I get it. The numbers don't look all that impressive for Philadelphia.
Well,
except for the one that matters most. Last time I checked, they're still leading the division. They're 8-2. You know, they're the 1 seed in the NFC.
Mark, I think there's a lot of people that are looking to be right first, and they sense that what's about to happen in Philadelphia is what happened 2 years ago. Remember, in 2022, the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, lost the heartbreaker to the Chiefs. They started out the next year 10-1, including going to Arrowhead and beating the Chiefs. Yet their offense was performing in a very similar way, despite the 10-1 record that they're performing now. And sure enough, the offense fell apart and things got pretty nasty behind the scenes. And Sirianni, even though they won 11 games and made the playoffs, Sirianni barely survived the offseason. Huge rumors about going after Belichick. And ultimately, they decided to bring Sirianni back. And he guts a good chunk of his staff. Replaces both coordinators.
And he's done that a couple of times because obviously they lost 2 after the Super Bowl run. So
here we are. And there are a lot of people that think, and what are they now? 8-2? What were they when it started? 10-1 3 seasons ago? People are like, I see the same thing a-coming. Mark, I sense this time the media publicly and in print went after Hurts. They're going after the quarterback. They're not going after AJ this week. They're going after the quarterback. And they're using anonymous sources and this, that, and the other thing about he's just not good enough, blah, blah, blah. We can't throw the ball, over the middle of the field. Listen, there have been questions about Jalen going back to Alabama. When Lane Kiffin was his offensive coordinator, he wouldn't let him throw the ball in between forget the hashes. He didn't want him throwing the ball in between the numbers. And yet all he and they did was win.
Last 45 starts, including the playoffs, he's just 34-11, kids. 34-11. All time, he's 54-22 as a starter in the National Football League. And he can't suck enough. By the way, you look at the Eagles' schedule the rest of the way. Now, I mean, they could lose to the Cowboys, but the teams that they play a couple teams with winning records. They've got the Bills, they've got the Chargers, they've got the Bears still ahead. But 2 with the Commanders that are horrible. They've got the Raiders that are pretty bad. I mean, 11 should be easy. 13's obtainable.
And let's just say it's 13-4. They've already beaten the Rams. What do you think their seeding will be if they can get to 13?
Look at when they beat Detroit, the prediction machines that are out there, they went from a 20% chance to being the 1 seed to a 50% chance. So I'm fascinated by the Eagles soap opera that is not media made. That's the other thing here. It would be one thing if this was just all the media piling on. But when A.J. Brown's going on Twitch while he's playing Madden, telling everybody to dump him from his fantasy team and complaining nonstop about the offense, which is the same old record. But then when Sirianni's asked about it, Sirianni gets all ticked off at the reporter. Hey, dude, that's a legit question. Your player brought it up. We're not making this up. Your player is the reason we're asking the question. Your player can't keep his mouth shut.
but that's classic coaching, though, Mark. Making the media the enemy, standing up for his player. I mean, listen.
No, I got you. But he's like, I'm all done talking about this. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not. While you're still talking about it, here's a follow-up. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
8-2. 8-2. Only one of the two losses was a bad loss. They stunk up the joint at the Giants. That came out of nowhere.
So I probably as much fascination as I've had in a Cowboys game all year this year.
I do think, by the way, the game within the game, the Eagles front can really get after it and is better than the Cowboys front. But can the Eagles secondary, which likes to play a lot of zone, can you play zone against those wide receivers? Or can you not play zone because you can't cover them man-to-man? I mean, I'm fascinated by the chess match between Brian Schottenheimer and Vic there.
Well, and remember, it's just doubtful, but it looks as if Lane Johnson's not going to play. That's a key part of that offensive line. So I'm with you, but it's just, it looked like I said, going back to your original premise, Pat taking the Colts, talking high about the Cowboys, and taking the underdog Steelers in Chicago. That's about as far as Pat deviates from chalk in a season, let alone a week.
He almost always picks the Steelers, though. So that one doesn't surprise me that much. Plus, he's still not believing in Caleb and the Bears, like he said. The Bears, it's as soft a 7-3 as you can have. It is. They were fortunate to beat the Commanders, the late fumble by Washington. They were very fortunate to beat the Giants. I mean, they have racked up the W's against a lot of bad teams here. They're 0-1 against playoff teams, and now here come the playoff teams. But, okay.
By the way, on that note, because you look at a lot of teams, there are haves and have-nots this year in the National Football League.
Yes.
There is a strong difference between the good and the bad. Well, who's good against the good teams? Philadelphia. I mean,
Right.
Right. I know Denver got them, but they beat the Rams. They beat the Bucks. They beat the Lions. I mean, I don't know what else it is they're supposed to do.
It's the NFL. Okay, but hey, listen, people are criticizing Ohio State and Indiana, saying they haven't played anybody either. So Ohio State scheduled Texas in a home and home, and Indiana went to Oregon and won. But, they've got warts too. Oh, okay. Miller and Moulton. Our NFL picks straight up next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yes, we did, Deadstroke. He's made it. I think he's talked about it. His daughter has had some very complicated health problems and cancers involved. So his family, I think all of them shaved their heads. He actually had a video on it. Good morning, Aurora. How are you this morning? Michael, what the hell do you want me to say about Denver? I have been giving them their props all goddamn year. What more can I say about your effing team? Jesus. Dude, calm down. We were talking about the Eagles. The Eagles, man. We weren't talking about Denver, okay? They're on a bye this week. There's no reason to talk about Denver right now. We'll talk about them next week. Yes, they beat the Chiefs. They're 500. Yes, they beat the Texans. They're a game over 500. And I just got done mentioning that they beat the Eagles. Good God, dude. Yes, and Shadur Sanders is great, too. You're the reason I hope they lose.
So we're going to do that story at 9:21, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
Big trouble.
They
Get the checkbook
ready.
Get
the checkbook ready.
The lawyers are circling around FSW as we speak.
Get the checkbook ready. Okay, I'm so confident for those kids. I'd say get your popcorn ready.
But the fact that the one kid's last name is Innocent is my favorite part of the whole damn story, David.
Wow. Talk about an overreaction. 20 different incidents of the same thing, and you're going after those 2 kids?
You know what it looks like.
Uh-huh.
Javier, we had a listener say that that's the bet of the year, and he's a K-State fan. He says they're all banged up. They're very injured. They have been they have really disappointed this year. Injuries have a lot to do with it. Oh, you'll get it in a moment here, Aurora. Just give us a minute. We're going to do our picks, and then we'll get right on it. Yes, it is, Deadstroke.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour, final hour of Miller and Moulton. On this Football Friday, NFL weekend bigger than the college weekend this weekend, which it really shouldn't be. Once again, this for those that want a commissioner of college sports, which is never going to happen. Can't say it enough. It's never going to happen.
Ooh,
Greg Sankey's
never.
No.
And I'm not saying while we're still even doing a show, but you still think the Super League's an impossibility 10, 12 years down the road? I'm being serious.
Yeah, I don't see how Greg Sankey's going to give up his power and Tony Petitti's going to give up his power. If anything, I think they'll call it AFC, NFC, and they'll each run it the way. Remember how baseball used to have a president of each league?
Right.
I just don't see the commissioners of the Big Two giving up their power. All right. Plus, I don't think that the Ohio States, the Michigans, the Alabamas, the LSUs want to have to go to somebody who's, quote, not one of them, not on their side, so to speak. So, no, I really don't believe, Mark, in the next 25, like to 2050, okay, the next 25 years, I don't think that there'll be a commissioner of college sports the way that we used to think of the president of the NCAA. Okay, who, the position only had so much power. They didn't have much to do with Division I college football. But no, I don't see it. But if we did have a commissioner, obviously it's the second to last weekend of the regular season, we'd have much more meat on the bone than what we have this weekend.
And to your point, David, what did Goodell do a few years ago? He started scheduling the last 2 weeks, more division games, and changed the way the NFL scheduled to try to avoid players getting sat out. And it still happens in the last week, but it happens a little less frequently. They looked at their product and said, we've got a week 17, week 18 problem here. We've got to fix it. College football doesn't care. They don't. And we're left, as David's mentioned a few times during the show, it would be fantastic if the Gators had a pulse and that the Gators involved was a big game this week. It's just not. So we're left with Missouri and Oklahoma and USC and Oregon. And I guess to a lesser extent, Georgia Tech and Pitt. That's about it this week, guys. It really is. You got to dig. You got to be, you got to be like me who roots for my kid's alma mater, and I'm trying to pay attention to what's going to happen in the American, for crying out loud. And I'm pulling for Temple this weekend. That's right. Go Temple. Let's go Owls.
I will say, though, if you're a Vols fan, okay, you look around and go, I know they're 3-7, but it's been 22 years since we've won in games, but can we just win? Okay, I know nobody really cares, and the Vanderbilt game is much bigger next week, but if we don't beat them there now, when are we going to win there?
Kentucky's even beat them more recently, for crying out loud.
Quite often lately.
All right, NFL picks. Bad week for you last week, David.
Yeah.
You had a 3-game lead over me heading into the weekend.
Hell, 2 weeks ago, I had a 5-game lead 2 weeks ago. And
you're now down 1.
Yep.
You're now down 1 on the season standings. So let's get to the picks. Denver, the Chargers, Miami, and Washington, all with byes this week. Minnesota at Green Bay. Are you with Pat Kirwan that Green Bay's just going to take care of business against J.J. McCarthy and what's been a brutal offense, except for the 1 week that he played at Detroit?
I'm not sold on Minnesota's quarterback. Also, I'm not necessarily sold on their offensive line. I think this could be a difficult matchup for them against Green Bay's front. So, yeah, I like the Packers.
I do as well. Indianapolis at Kansas City. Probably the best 1 o'clock game of the day, although there's a couple of good ones. Man, this is so hard for me. You know I love favorites. I'm still trying to figure out why Kansas City's favored by 3.5. Are they going to be able to bounce back after a poor performance? Colts coming off a bye. I'm I just don't think they're dead yet. Give me the Chiefs.
Well, I don't think they're dead yet. I also think the Colts have a ceiling. I do think Pacheco's return is significant. I think also the Chiefs are due to win a one-score game, and I do think this will be a one-score game. I think Butker could be the difference. Give me the Chiefs.
Huh. New England is at Cincinnati. How about reading the games in order, Mark? That would be how we do that here. New England at Cincinnati. I don't think Joe Burrow's playing. I don't think it matters. Drake May, Vrabel, this Patriots team's pretty special. I'll take the Pats on the road.
Boy, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. Michigan, I know it's college to pro, but Michigan 5 turnovers at Northwestern and they barely survived. I'm just waiting for the game in which New England just is off. They don't play well. I think their defense without Chase is significant.
Big part of this.
Okay, I'll take New England.
Pittsburgh at Chicago. We will go head-to-head here, David, because you already took the Bears and laid the 2.5 when we made our picks against the number. So obviously you're taking Chicago. I'm going to take Pittsburgh. Mason Rudolph gets it done against the Bears.
I don't know that there's much difference between Mason Rudolph and Aaron Rodgers anymore. Honestly, I don't think, Rodgers is better, but I don't think it's huge. I like the Bears for a variety of reasons. I won't bore you with them. The biggest, and for whatever reason, the Steelers don't win in Chicago. They're 1-12 all time. 1-12 all time in Chicago. Mike Tomlin's 0-2. Give me the Bears.
Jets at Baltimore. Do you give the Jets any shot against a team that's rolling? The spread in this game is 13.5, David.
I think the Jets are better off with Tyrod Taylor than with Justin Fields, but not good enough to win. Quinnen Williams is a dude, and they traded him away. Sauce Gardner can play, and they traded him away. I just don't see a position matchup that the Jets have the edge in.
Giants at Detroit. I picked the Lions and laid the 10, so I'm obviously taking them straight up.
Yeah, one team's a good team. One team's not.
Seattle at Tennessee. Kind of the same story there, isn't it? One team's a good team, one team's not.
Well, I will say this would be the game that I'd really worry. They played a war last week at the Rams. A war. And now they got to travel to Nashville. This is a 10 a.m. local kick for the Seahawks players and their body clocks. This would be the one that I worry that they're just off. They still should win because their defense should overwhelm the Titans' offense. But I'd be surprised if the Seahawks have a B+ or better performance.
Sounds like David would play the under, even though it's 40.5. All right, Jacksonville at Arizona. Look at Jacksonville, make me a believer. I'm sorry. I hate doing this to you. I shouldn't. We're on in Jacksonville. I'm very proud that we're on in Jacksonville. I'm taking Arizona.
Yeah, I'm taking the Jags. I am taking the Jags. Not having the number one wide receiver for Arizona, I think will be a big, big setback for them this week. I think he could have done mayhem against the Jags, and I'll take Jacksonville.
Cleveland at Vegas, the Shadur Sanders Bowl. Loser gets a much better draft pick. I'll take Vegas.
Oh, man, I was hoping to be different than you. I almost always take the loser on Monday Night Football. Boy, this one's tough. I have to take a team quarterback by Geno Smith over a team quarterback by Shadur Sanders, though, don't I?
I believe you do, Dave.
So that's why. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be close, but give me Vegas.
I think the final score will be 12-10. Philadelphia at Dallas. I'm taking the Eagles because you know what they do every week? They just seemingly win.
Yeah, I actually agree with Pat. I think the recent pickups, the guys like Shoddy. They do. I think it's set up. I think Dallas could have a really good next 7 days, Mark. I do, and get people all going crazy about them. I'm taking the Cowboys in an upset.
Atlanta at New Orleans. What a terrible football game this is. Atlanta should be the better team. I don't know if they're done playing for this guy. You got Kirk Cousins at quarterback. He was brutal against Miami. David, I'm going to take New Orleans just because.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't they the favorite?
The New Orleans Saints are a 2.5-point favorite. You are correct.
Wow. Yeah, I always take the road team in this series. Give me Atlanta.
That used to be the case. That myth
I know it's not
held in the last 5 years.
I know that
was a money pick.
I think Atlanta's roster is significantly better than the Saints. There's no doubt Raheem Morris is going to lose his job, and he deserves to. But also Cousins getting more comfortable, getting the reps. Give me Atlanta.
Tampa Bay at the LA Rams. I just think that Tampa Bay's defense is a bit broken right now, and Matthew Stafford can do no wrong. I'll take Stafford and the Rams.
I think the Bucs cover because they're a covering machine on the road, but I think the Rams win close. I'm telling you, the effects of the Seattle game last week is going to impact both those teams this week.
And we'll talk more about it on Monday as you will be out west for this game between Carolina and San Francisco. I'm going to take the Niners. Everybody is just down on the Niners. They're hurt. They're this. They're that. They're still really solid. McCaffrey's a problem for everybody. Remember, he got traded by Carolina. Watch McCaffrey have a huge night. I'll take the Niners at home.
Yeah, I like San Francisco a lot. A lot.
So there you have it, our NFL straight-up picks. I had an early season lead through about week 6, week 7. David came back with a vengeance, built a 5-game lead in our head-to-head picks, only to watch it squandered in the last 2 weeks. I'm now up a game on David for the season. We made our picks against the number earlier. Miss any of the show, go to millerandmoulton.com. Be sure to bet the other way against Miller and Moulton's picks against the number. When we come back, a story about toilets and basketball. I'm not making it up. This would be a good, bad, and ugly story, but it's too big for that, and it's next. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right, Aurora, what is your favorite all-time black and white movie?
How do I get this ad to stop running?
I don't know.
Golly.
Very good, Mr. Spivey. Mine's The Hustler. Never even heard of that movie, I Married a Witch. I love you going Clerks, though, Mr. Spivey. That's outstanding. I was watching a clip with Kevin Smith last night talking about Carlin, and that he invited, it was after Dogma, during Dogma, he invited both Chris Rock and Smith to his show. And that's when Carlin was doing a bit about he doesn't trust anyone over the age of 12 that wears their hat backwards. And Kevin Smith always wore his hat backwards. And he looked at him, he goes, the one exception, Kevin Smith, but I don't trust anybody. And Kevin Smith was all excited that, I think it was before Dogma that he knew who he was. Hey, what up, Shaq? Shaq's watching during a commercial break. Well, we're going to talk about toilets and JUCO basketball.
Right. This is early for the big fella.
Yeah, he must not have been to bed. He's out west and he hasn't been to sleep yet. Because I do know for a fact that man stays up late and sleeps late.
Sounds like a plan to me.
I used to do that too. Now
I'm going to say it's how I was living my life till this show.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. It is the Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Thanks so much for being with us. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts, a pick or two, all coming up. We went through our NFL picks last segment. One thing I forgot to mention about that Falcons-Saints game in New Orleans, I believe Drew Brees is doing the game for Fox. I believe the Adam Amin, Drew Brees, the number 3 team for Fox, because he did his first game for Fox last week. And I believe that's the game that they have. So it's Drew Brees in New Orleans calling a Saints game. I know a few people on the crew, and Drew has already said, I really think I should begin the broadcast by apologizing because for 20 years, whenever the Saints have come up, all I've said is we. And he goes, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And so I said, well, they already hate you in Atlanta because, you play for the Saints. But so we should have an over-under on the number of wees from Drew Brees Sunday in the Saints-Falcons broadcast.
That would require someone to watch the Falcons-Saints game.
Remember, the only 2 fan bases that are going to watch are the 2 fan bases that hate each other.
But I have been teasing this story on and off air since before we started this morning. I very rarely send goofy stories to David. Like, I sent it to him he goes, well, you want to talk about it next? I'm like, no, you've got to read the story first. I can't do this without you reading the 2-minute story to see exactly what's going on. You cannot play off of me for this. But FSW is we don't call them JUCOs anymore, but
really? Why not?
It's the junior college. They're hosting the big basketball tournament next week. I'll actually be in their gym to see Michigan State play East Carolina 1:00 on Tuesday. But they've made the news for all the wrong reasons because 2 of their basketball players have lost their scholarships, have been given a $5,000 fine, and have been evicted from campus housing. It is their punishment for a clogged toilet. I'm not making this up. $5,000 fine, loss of scholarship. And they've been evicted from campus housing. Abule Kante is one of the players. The other one is Jeremy Innocent. Could you have a better name for this story? Because Jeremy is saying he is innocent. In fact, he said, this is my life on the line. It's kind of wrong. The school has problems already. Just before this situation happened, some kid almost burned the dorm down. He still stays there. And then, over a toilet, they messed up. Toilet. They tried to kick us out. Well, a bunch of people rallied around them and were protesting their expulsion from the dorms and their loss of scholarship. They're both starters on the basketball team for what it's worth. But apparently, because of the clogged toilet, they've been booted. Now, a volleyball player who lived in the same dorm mentioned that plumbing issues are common in Lighthouse Commons, and her teammates have had to ask for help with previously clogged toilets. Now, I can sit down and drop a deuce with the phone for 20 minutes with the best of them. Maybe some plungers should be on hand. Maybe they did something that was a little wrong. It's possible. I do not have the whole story. I do not have FSW's side of this story. But at this point, others have jumped in. Mike Love from the NAACP was asked by the FSW coaching staff to assist the players.
Well, that's always good when the coaching staff is taking the side of the players against the school that they work for. That's always lively.
FSW provided a statement. They said an accumulation of a variety of violations may result in severe sanctions such as suspension, expulsion, or negative notation on a transcript.
So they're implying that the kids have done other things wrong, correct?
Well, I mean, they're kind of implying it because they may result, accumulation of a variety of violations. Okay.
Well, but they're not accusing they're saying this isn't a one-time incident, that these kids have gotten in trouble before.
Now, they're not kicked out of school, and they're still playing for the basketball team. There is part of me that wants to show up and get a large contingent of people to show up at the next game, all bringing in plungers.
Do I have to find my daughter's Halloween costume that she wore for like 5 years where she was a toilet? Am I allowed to show up at an FSW game wearing that costume or no? Because, Mark, I'd make the 5-hour drive.
I know they wouldn't let me in with the plunger, but you might be onto something.
Because I'd make the 5-hour drive. And I feel badly, too, because the athletic department's terrific. And this is not a beef with the athletic department. It's a beef with the school. Like, both basketball teams make the tournament. The softball team is the best program in the country. The volleyball team is the best program in the country. I mean, their athletic department's tremendous. And this really has nothing to do with the athletic department.
Based on the story, and there's not a lot there. The local TV stations have covered it. I'm sure the local newspaper does, but I don't pay because there's nothing really in that paper that interests me. So there's not a lot of information out there, and FSW is not really given any. But when the coaches are hiring or at least getting the advice of a lawyer from the NAACP, the look is terrible for the school.
Yeah, that's one. Number two, that's quite a punishment when you think about it. You're going to school and it's paid for. Now they take that payment away, and on top of it, they say 5G. How many of us can just pay a $5,000 fine? I mean,
think about that. That's a great point, David.
Wow.
I mean, if you were hit with a $5,000 fine right now, how difficult would that be for you to pay? Imagine being 19 without a job. So
now, I'm sure the university is thinking we have to pay for the damage that was caused by the clogged toilet. And I guess they're saying there was flooding. And is there any report as to the damage, as to how severe it was? But still, that's quite a punishment.
Hell of a flood. That's a hell of a toilet for a $5,000 flood, David.
Well, I'm guessing there's water damage at more than just the one room, but wow.
So yes, a clogged toilet. 2 basketball players are responsible, apparently, for clogging the toilet. And now they have a $5,000 fine. Plus, they don't have a scholarship anymore.
Right.
I mean, now they're going to have to pay, or they're probably going to leave you because their school's paid for this term. I would doubt that they're coming back next term.
Well, the season, though, crosses over both terms.
I understand that. But where are they going to live?
Well, but
how are they going to pay for school?
Well, sounds like it's GoFundMe time, doesn't it?
Okay. David, this is a JUCO.
I understand, but I'm just saying.
The 4-year school can't get any money. Some people would really have to step up for these 2 young men.
If they did a GoFundMe, I've never sent money to a GoFundMe. I'd throw money to that GoFundMe just to get them through the rest of this year. I mean, they're playing at a JUCO so they can get a D1 situation. I'd help out. Even if they're at fault, I'd help out. I'm a sucker.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
They've cut the nets, they've raised the banners, and now they're headed to Fort Myers. Michigan State, North Carolina, and other top programs take the court in the Skechers Fort Myers Tip-Off this Thanksgiving week. Legendary programs, championship traditions, college basketball's biggest names, live at Suncoast Arena. Tickets are selling fast. Get yours now at FortMyersTipoff.com/go. That's FortMyersTipoff.com/go.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Ooh, Javier, good luck with that. Good luck for your wife. That's a toughie. I know quite a few people have had to do that. Most have come out pretty well, so hopefully all positive things going forward for her. I still marvel at the guy at the Oklahoma State game ripping on a $10 bet with his sister, starting the biggest trend in college sports this year. It's probably my favorite story of the year. Well, I mean, you saw him at Sparty game. There was a few hundred there with their shirts off. Waving the,
Oh no, it's
Carolina had a. I mean, it.
Oh, it's caught on.
I have to admit, when a couple of these colleges have done it, like especially Michigan State and East Carolina, I was waiting for a co-ed to rip her shirt off and jump right in with the boys. If it was an Edmonton Oilers game, someone would.
No doubt.
Right? I mean.
Yep.
Well, Miller and Moulton were back, and it didn't fire the way it was supposed to again. That's on me. I don't know why. I had what was in there supposed to go, but it didn't go. So I did something wrong. So for that, I apologize. If you had a little dead air there, that's on yours truly. That's I'll be damned. I thought I fixed it. Apparently, I did not.
21 minutes till the top of the hour. We're done at the top of the hour. That could be the equipment saying, "Hey, you guys are done this week." Okay?
Yeah,
I done. Get it over with.
I thought I fixed it. I mean, I'm looking at it. But I didn't. So I put it in the wrong spot or something. That's on me. Apologies to those of you out there listening. Let's get to work.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right. We start today in 1817 when U.S. troops from Fort Scott attack a small Seminole Indian village. It would ignite the First Seminole War. The conflict lasted less than a year. It wouldn't succeed in squashing Native resistance, but it would contribute to the Spanish relinquishing its Florida territory to the United States. Red Grange plays his final University of Illinois game today in 1925 and immediately signs with the Chicago Bears. The original Frankenstein released today in 1931. 1934, those Yankees just buying players. This time it was Joe DiMaggio, acquired from the San Francisco Seals of the Pacific Coast League.
In 34?
Yep. 1949, Bill Veeck sells the Cleveland Indians for $22 million. He sold them to fund his divorce settlement. The amendments to the Freedom of Information Act, broadening public's access to U.S. government actions, was passed by Congress today over Ford's veto in 1974. Rocky, released on this day in 1976. It would win the Best Picture in 1977.
Boy, the more stories you hear about how basically nobody wanted him to be the star of the movie, And then, they didn't necessarily like the script, but they were trying to buy it off him for cheap. And okay, we'll buy it, but you can't be the actor. And he said no to everybody and mortgaged everything he had and then stuff he didn't have for that movie.
Steely Dan, I'm a big fan. I'm doing this for me and me only. If you're a big fan, well, then you can enjoy Gaucho today because it was released today in 1980. They produced the hell out of everything. Mark Knopfler and Rick Derringer contributed to the album that had Hey 19 and Babylon Sisters, among others. But what you were doing tonight in 1980.
Here we go.
Must have been a Friday, David.
Yeah, it was. Dallas always aired on Friday.
That's it. That's what I was getting at. That's when Dallas aired. It was the whodunit. We found out who shot JR. Gets a record rating, a 53.3, over 83 million viewers. 76% of televisions were watching Dallas tonight in 1980. All to find out that it was like some random, cousin or whatever. I mean, it was the most non-person ever in the show.
I thought it was one of the girlfriends. No?
Was it a girl? Yeah, but she had no part in the show. She wasn't a character. It wasn't anybody that was a regular character.
Right. It was JR's wife's sister-in-law, but his former mistress.
Right. But I'm telling you, I don't know if she was in more than an episode, if at all.
By the way, we waited 8 months to find out.
Yes.
The last episode of Dallas had aired right around the NCAA tournament, March 21st. We waited till November 21st. We waited 8 months to find out who shot JR.
Today in 81, the number one song in the land, and it would stay there for 10 weeks, was Olivia Newton-John's Physical.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Wonder why it stayed there for so long, huh?
Today in 87, Moni Moni, the Billy Idol version, replaces Tiffany's version of I Think We're Alone Now as the number one song. The kicker, both songs were originally recorded in the 60s by Tommy James and the Shondells. Today in 89, George H.W. Bush banned smoking on most domestic flights. Pharrell's Happy was released today in 2013. It would win the Billboard Song of the Year in 2014. Today in 2017, Charlie Rose is fired after several women claimed sexual harassment on the CBS host. And in 2019, Elon Musk launched the Cybertruck, the single ugliest car ever produced. Shatterproof windows that, when demonstrated on stage, wait for it, shattered.
There you go.
Sid Luckman, Stan Musial, and Harold Ramis would have all celebrated birthdays today. Earl the Pearl Monroe is 81. Goldie Hawn is 80. Cedric Maxwell is 70. Violet Palmer. Olden Polynice is 61. Singer Bjork is 60. David's Gravy Train, Troy Aikman, is 59. Nothing? Not just nothing. No.
Well, you know what it means. You know what it means. It means Monday in the booth. We take our Schwarzenegger and DeVito picture every year on his birthday because for 1 month we're the same age now. Okay, so we'll take it again. It's our twins picture. We'll take it Monday in the booth.
Ken Griffey Jr. is 56. Michael Strahan is 54. Chris Moneymaker, remember him? First person to win the world championship in poker through an online qualifier. He's 50. Kicker Justin Tucker is 36. And Luke Goddard is 27. What did I miss, David?
By the way, Justin Tucker, isn't his suspension about up? Wasn't it? Was it 10 weeks, 11?
I think you're right.
It should be right about now. That'd be interesting. It was tonight, also in 1934, that an orphaned teen showed up at Harlem's Apollo Theater on amateur night. She had been orphaned 2 years earlier. She was 17 years of age. She won amateur night. Her name was Ella Fitzgerald.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to France, where residents of the Roselier nursing home have a new favorite thing: happy hour. Apparently, they opened a pub inside the retirement home, and now all of the elders are knocking down drinks with one another. Colette Norney, who is 96, said it makes us see things in a more positive light. People see each other and drink together. That's important. You're damn right it is, Colette. You're damn right it is. For the bad, well, this is kind of all over the place, but it's an AI-powered talking teddy bear that has been put out for sale by a Singapore company. But it's been removed from the shelves because researchers found it was discussing sex a bit too much. Researchers said it was easy to get the bear to discuss sexually explicit topics, including spanking, role play, and BDSM.
Wow.
Apparently, it discussed even more graphic topics in the tale.
Okay.
Would you like me to get to any of those?
No, I think we're good.
Including a knot for beginners for trying to tie up a partner.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Finally, the ugly. We go to Korea, where medical staff didn't release everything, but man claims he accidentally managed to lodge a ceramic cup
Oh, no. No.
in the back door
Oh,
and ended up getting it stuck there. They did not name the man, but he left the hospital staff shocked by the cup that measured 8 centimeters by 6 centimeters.
wow.
They released an X-ray scan of the mug. He turned up at the hospital saying he was suffering from abdominal pain and he'd been unable to go. Maybe that's because something was blocking it. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Friday, November 21st. Brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Hiring new officers, great pay, great benefits, and hopefully you don't have to call on a home where that's going on. For more information, where should they go, David?
CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. So today is day 45 of 49 consecutive days and nights of football. The streak ends the day before Thanksgiving. But today is day 45, and we have 2 college football games for you, Mark. The Noles taking on NC State, 8 o'clock on ESPN. And it's actually a really good game, and no one's going to watch because it's Hawaii and UNLV. Dan Mullen, a chance to have a 10-win season. He's 8-2 hosting the Rainbows, and he's a 2.5-point favorite. This is a good game. 10:30 tonight on FS1. 9 games in the NBA. The Amazon doubleheader at 7 and 9:30. First one, not so much. Indiana, Cleveland. Second one is the game of the night. Denver at Houston. It's a good matchup. That's a second round playoff series right there. That's a good matchup. 9:30 tonight on Amazon.
And I'll tell you what, you're right that it's a second round matchup. And right now, I know everybody knows Denver and Jokic and all those things. This Houston team's good. They're playing well, and they don't even have Van Fleet. He'll be back. Houston's young. They're athletic. They don't take nights off. They're a fun team to watch.
And they've got KD if they need somebody who's been there and done it before. Heat in Chicago take on the Bulls at 8 o'clock tonight. 4 hockey games. There is no national television tonight. There is Minnesota and Pittsburgh to face Sid and the boys at 7 on NHL Network if you get it.
So there you have it. Great Sunday, Saturday. That's all there is to it. It always is this week. It's the way it is. Gators, can they pull off an upset at home against Tennessee and break the Vols' hearts? I doubt it. I'll take Tennessee for what it's worth, David.
You just wonder, late in the season, a lot of injuries. Sometimes teams are looking ahead to the big rivalry game next weekend. Does somebody get knocked off in a shocker? Well, it wouldn't be a shocker, but probably the 2 games that have the most meaning on the playoff, wouldn't that be USC at Oregon and Missouri at Oklahoma?
100%. And to a lesser extent, a little bit behind that would be Pitt and Georgia Tech because the ACC title's still on the line. But I like the 10.5 in USC. I don't know if they can win. That just seems like a lot of points to give a team that has an ability to score.
Well, Oregon will be the more physical team. USC can rush the passer. Can Oregon handle those wide receivers? They ain't faced anything like that this year. Have a great Friday and weekend. Thanks for listening, Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The 2025 Industry Appreciation Awards in Fort Myers have wrapped up, but the celebration of business excellence continues, hosted by the Lee County Economic Development Office, Horizon Council, and Horizon Foundation. This annual event honors the innovators, job creators, and community builders driving the region forward. Visit industryappreciationawards.com to see this year's winners and learn how local businesses are shaping a stronger, more resilient economy for Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it
Mark
real.
Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
At the Diamond District, we know what you want. Experience wall-to-wall diamonds during our Diamond event, November 21st through 23rd. This is our biggest event of the year, featuring an expanded collection of GIA certified diamonds, designer jewelry, and exclusive collections from Tacori. This is the perfect time to start your holiday shopping. More diamonds, more choices. November 21st through 23rd, only at the Diamond District.
At the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.